Welcome to a world where magic is real and monsters are everywhere. Meet the soul beasts, the terrifying creatures that rule this mystical land. These beasts possess enough raw power to level entire cities in an instant. But humanity didn't just roll over and die in the face of destruction. They learned to harness this incredible, terrifying power for their own survival. By becoming soul masters, they found a way to fight back against the darkness. They forged contracts with these monsters to tame their wild and chaotic nature. Among all the masters, the strongest disciples are chosen from the great sects, and the girl at the top of them all is known as the Saint. Our girl starts her day with a monthly purification ritual in a frozen cave. She steps out of the water looking every bit the elegant, holy figure. Her attendants quickly move to dress her in her official royal robes. Meet Gong Lianyu, the legendary sorrowful saint of the Sea Concubine Palace. With eyes full of tears, she looks like she's carrying a heavy burden. "What were they saying about me?" she asks her maids with a soft voice. Apparently, the other saints are calling her soul pet a cheap knockoff. Gong keeps her head high and walks away without saying a single word. The maids assume she's just hiding some terrifying secret power for later. But the second she gets to her room, she slams the door shut. Her face transforms from holy grace to pure, unadulterated rage and frustration. "All of them are dumbasses," she screams, done with their constant, annoying gossip. You see, a year ago, everyone gathered for her grand summoning ceremony. The crowd was shocked when she only summoned a tiny, pathetic water elemental. But then one nerd shouted that it must be a legendary water emperor. Suddenly, the whole crowd was hailing her as the greatest saintess alive. Back in the present, Gong is face down on her rug, dying of embarrassment. "Water emperor my ass, I really just got the most common spirit ever." She summons her little blob and asks it for a simple, quick rinse. Instead of a gentle spray, the spirit blasts her directly in the face. "Wait for me to take my clothes off first," she coughs, completely soaked. Suddenly, a system notification rings out with a very loud ding-dong. "Shoot, the trial is about to start." She panics, still dripping wet. A blinding flash of light transports her away to a completely different realm. She's been pulled into the soul hell trials created for godlike prodigies. Only one person can survive 100 stages to become the world's strongest. Gong lands hard in the snow, looking absolutely miserable and totally over it. "Welcome to stage 1, the desolate iceberg, a frozen wasteland of death. It's been 4 years, when will this nightmare finally end?" She sighs. "It's enough to make our poor heroine want to crawl into a hole." The girls look at her with pure worship, wishing she was their sister. Gong is literally bleeding internally from the guilt of her fake reputation. "We really want to see your water emperor, big sis," they chirp. Gong tries to finally tell them the truth about her weak spirit. But before she can speak, a massive shadow looms over them all. A blinding flash of light transports our girl and the group to a frozen wasteland. Gu Jingjing warns everyone not to wet themselves when they see the water emperor's power. Our poor heroine feels a massive wave of relief just to be standing. "Stop pestering Senior Gong about soul pets," Gu Jingjing snaps, explaining they're useless here. The group stares in awe as a massive icy peak looms over them. Gong Lianyu leads the way, marching straight into the ribs of a giant skeletal structure. Gu Jingjing watches closely, thinking that pure willpower won't be enough to survive. She believes strength is the only thing that matters in these hellish trials. Our girl is sweating bullets, feeling like a tiny sardine trapped among sharks. She plays the hero anyway, reaching down to pull the others up the cliff. Gu Jingjing is impressed, vowing to catch up to her level no matter what. When Gong turns around, she catches the girl staring with a massive blush. "There's no need to pretend to be tough," our girl says, offering her cloak. The other girls can't believe their eyes at this sudden act of kindness. Our girl assumes she was just staring because she was freezing to death. But Gu Jingjing is having a full-blown crisis, thinking this is a romantic move. The cloak is so warm that the poor girl actually starts smoking. Suddenly, the other two start whining that they're freezing to death too. Things get weird fast as they snatch her clothes and start sniffing them. With the group energized, they start a frantic race toward the summit. They admire how calm Gong looks, unaware she's actually dying of embarrassment. One girl sprints ahead, screaming that she's taken first place in the race. Gu Jingjing hands back the cloak, her face redder than a beet. As they reach the goal, they prepare to return the rest of the gear. "Don't drop your guard yet," Gong warns, sensing danger in the air. Right on cue, a massive rumble shakes the entire mountain range. Gu Jingjing screams, asking why our girl isn't running for her life. Gong stands her ground, ready to accept her fate against the incoming snow. The girls are terrified, realizing the massive avalanche is coming right for them. They all huddle together behind our girl, praying for a miracle. The massive wall of snow crashes down on them with a deafening roar. Somehow they survive, and the girls praise her for the test of courage. Our girl is just standing there with her soul leaving her body. A bright transport beam shoots down from the sky to claim them. Gu Jingjing is overjoyed, thanking Gong for getting them through the trial. In a blink, Gong is back in her room as a water drop hits the floor. 3 hours of icy hell translated to exactly 1 second of real time. She knows the higher-ups would lose their minds if they knew she was chosen. Outside, the entire palace is throwing a massive party for their Saintess. Gong knows if she fails the next trial, these fans will turn into monsters. "I need to practice," she mutters, sprinting off to train and get stronger. A mysterious messenger arrives at the temple looking for the Saintess. She cordially invites her to Divine Water's tower on behalf of Lord Baihe. But the Saintess has already ditched her duties for the freezing ice fields. The messenger is skeptical, thinking this is just a terrible excuse to avoid a meeting. Meanwhile, a water spirit spirit lets loose a deadly volley of water archery in the snow. It's a total wipeout, leaving our poor heroine face down in the slush alongside a rabbit. The spirit is acting all proud, but our girl is absolutely losing it. There's no way my elemental should lose to a puny beast like you, she wails. Suddenly, she hears voices nearby and completely freezes in pure terror. Someone is shouting for her to stop, and she realizes she's about to be caught. If anyone finds out the Saintess is grinding in a novice zone, her reputation is toast. She executes a clumsy, Saintess tumble to dive out of sight behind a rock. She quickly recalls her water spirit to hide any evidence of her training. A suspicious guy starts snooping around her hiding spot, and our girl holds her breath. She looks down only to find a rare pink fox hiding right beside her. Before she can react, the little beast vanishes into a massive cloud of smoke. It transforms into a flower, but the smoke just gave away her hiding spot. She can already hear the public mocking her for hunting low-level rabbits to level up. The guy towers over her, demanding to know if she's seen the fox. The fox turned into that flower, just pick it up and leave, she lies. The guy is totally starstruck, convinced he's actually looking at the real Saintess. Luckily, his companion thinks he's a moron and tells him to get his eyes checked. She explains the real Saintess has teardrop pupils and a much more assertive spirit. There's no way this peasant girl could be the Saintess, she scoffs. Our girl doubles down on the act, insisting the fox is now a flower. The disciples look at her like she's completely lost her mind. She's relieved they bought her mentally impaired act and finally left her alone. She turns her attention back to the fox, which is staring with wide eyes. The little guy jumps up, looking way more lively than he did before. Our girl gives it a head pat, feeling quite satisfied with her new friend. She pulls out her secret weapon, extremely special animal food made by the palace. The fox's eyes turn into literal spirals as the delicious scent hits its nose. In seconds, the wild beast is completely domesticated and panting like a happy puppy. So what's a fox like you doing out here in the cold? She asks. She's stunned when the fox reveals it used to be a completely normal animal. It transforms into a glamorous fox, proving it belongs to the Snow Fox clan. Seeing the scars on its body, our girl realizes it's been through absolute hell. The little fox points into the distance, tears streaming down its face. It begs our girl to help it find its lost clan members. The fox nods its head vigorously, desperate for a powerful ally to help. Finding your clan sounds way too hard, I should just sell you instead, she jokes. She tells the fox to get moving, but it's not taking another step. The poor thing has completely fainted from the stress, foaming at the mouth. The attendants tell the poor girl kneeling that the Saintess isn't coming back. One sister wants to give up, but the other says to just let her wait. Security is tight, so they figure the girl can't cause any real trouble. With a heavy sigh, they decide to leave her alone in the cold. 3 days pass, and the poor girl is still kneeling there like a zombie. Meanwhile, the real Saintess has finally reached the frozen and desolate ice fields. She's officially entered the Snow Fox clan's territory with her little fox companion. Our girl strikes a dramatic pose, ready to make her big move. She knows her status should be enough to coax a powerful fox from them. If she gets a legendary fox, she won't be a fake saint anymore. She still remembers the humiliation of being called a fraud with a weak elemental. Angry villagers actually tried to kill her just for being a fake. Suddenly, she finds herself soaked and wondering why there's a random pool inside. Her poor little fox is shivering and looks like a total drowned rat. Water spirit, dry us off, she commands, hoping for some quick relief. At least this little spirit is good for something other than fighting. But the peaceful moment ends when a massive white paw crushes the ground. A gigantic snow fox emerges from the shadows, looking absolutely majestic and terrifying. The entire cave is filled with foxes, and they aren't exactly being welcoming. Instead of bowing, the entire fox clan starts laughing at our poor girl. She's sweating bullets, wondering if they've already figured out her big secret. The leader offers their most talented prodigy if she agrees to a contract. Her little fox looks up, hoping this is the big moment. It tries to look impressive, but the white foxes are definitely not buying it. Yip yip, the little guy shouts, trying to act like a real big shot. The white fox just stares back with pure, unadulterated judgment. They think she's an absolute idiot for even showing her face here. Our girl looks down at her companion, her heart breaking for the thing. Sorry, but it's just not happening, she says, shocking the entire clan. The foxes are stunned that she would dare to reject their best prodigy. Fine then, get out, the leader snaps, ending the negotiation right there. Our girl gently pets her fox, choosing loyalty over raw power. She sees herself in the little creature and refuses to leave it behind. They start the long trek home as the sun begins to set. Our girl sighs, knowing her dreams of power just walked away. But the ground suddenly erupts in a massive and violent explosion. She's blasted backward, desperately clutching her little fox for dear life. A massive pillar of water shoots up and things are looking grim. They tumble through the snow, completely caught off guard by the blast. What the hell is attacking us? She screams, scanning the horizon. She calls for her water spirit to defend them one more time. The poor spirit looks exhausted, barely able to keep its form. A terrifying set of monster jaws looms over them, ready to swallow them. The water spirit glows with a desperate and blinding blue light. A massive explosion rocks the field as the two powers collide. Our girl shields her eyes, praying they survive the devastating impact. Standing before them is a level 2 monster, the black mud whale. This 10-meter beast is far stronger than anything her spirit can handle. Realizing she's totally outmatched, our girl turns tail and runs away. Little does she know, a mysterious figure is watching from the shadows. Our poor heroine is running for her life as the ground ground shakes beneath her. She's sobbing, desperately trying to keep her cool while her life flashes before her eyes. She realizes running is useless, so she decides to pull a total bluff to scare them off. She stops dead in her tracks, making the massive beast pause in confusion. They stopped, the Saintess gasps, unable to believe our girl's sudden change in attitude. Our girl turns around with a look that screams, "Don't mess with me." The enemy realizes it was a trap and commands her whale to dive back into the shadows. A massive crash echoes through the snowy wasteland as the beast retreats. Our girl keeps up the act, demanding to know who sent this crazy assassin. The enemy reveals she's from the White Lotus and is here to end our girl's reign. "I'll make sure you won't leave this place alive," she screams, pointing a finger. Our girl just stands there, looking completely unbothered by the death threats. The Saintess is actually shaken, feeling a terrifying power radiating from our girl's cold stare. She panics and orders her black mud whale to charge with everything it's got. "Wait, hold on, we can talk this through," our girl screams, losing her cool immediately. The whale slams down, but a tiny water spirit jumps out to protect her. Little Rue tries her best, but the whale's power is just too much. The defense shatters like glass, leaving our girl wide open for the final blow. She watches the massive beast descend, realizing there's absolutely nowhere left to hide. A giant shadow looms over the entire battlefield, signaling the end of the line. Our girl closes her eyes, finally accepting that her journey ends here. "Farewell, cruel world," she whispers, feeling like she was never meant for this life anyway. Suddenly, a massive, glowing creature manifests right behind her. It's a beast of pure light, and it looks absolutely finished with these games. Our girl clutches her little fox friend, unaware of the power about to be unleashed. The creature lets out a deafening howl that lights up the entire night sky. A blinding flash of holy energy erupts, turning the snow into steam. A massive explosion rocks the mountain as the whale is blasted back. As the smoke clears, the sheer scale of the Guardian is finally revealed. The massive beast towers over the enemy, making her look like a tiny insect. The Saintess is paralyzed with fear, staring up at the literal god of death. The fox lets out a thunderous roar, crackling with divine lightning. A holy tear, the seven-star deity breaking moon fox. The enemy stammers in horror. She realizes too late that trying to assassinate our girl was a one-way ticket to hell. Our girl looks back in shock, unable to believe her eyes. The fox howls one last time, asserting its dominance over the entire region. Our girl can only whisper, "Little foxy, what exactly are you?" Another massive bang echoes as the last of the enemy's power is snuffed out. The entire area is consumed by a thick, mysterious smoke. Suddenly, the intense holy aura vanishes as if it were never there. Our girl looks down to see her guardian has turned back into a simple flower. Our girl promises to keep the attack a secret from the palace higher-ups. The fox spirits gather around a fading flower, trying their best to heal it. But the light is dimming and the little fox's life is slipping away. The elder sighs, admitting they simply don't have enough soul essence to save her. Our heroine watches the tragic scene, her heart breaking for her furry companion. She clenches her fist, refusing to accept this tragic end. Tears prick her eyes as she stares at the dying creature. Suddenly, she realizes there is one final, dangerous way to save her friend. She focuses her power, her gaze turning sharp and filled with resolve. This little fox gave everything to save her, and she won't forget that. She pulls the creature into a desperate embrace, whispering words of comfort. "I'm initiating a binding contract," she declares, triggering a massive surge of magic. In an instant, her consciousness is pulled deep into the fox's spiritual plane. She wanders through the fox's memories until she spots a tiny, green version of her friend. A massive, terrifying shadow looms over our girl, making her jump in fright. Our girl tries to be nice, telling the green fox it has a lot of personality. She even tries to argue that being a single fox has its own perks. The little fox admits she's scared to sign the contract and hurt the Saintess. They stand together in the empty void, the weight of the moment hanging heavy. Tears fall as the Saintess prepares to make a life-changing sacrifice. "Why would a literal Saintess like me risk her life for you?" she yells. She grabs the fox by the neck, claiming this is just a business opportunity. "Sign the contract right now or I'll squeeze the life out of you," she threatens. Outside, the elder panics and demands every drop of soul essence be brought out. The Saintess floats in a pool of pure energy, her body absorbing the massive power. Her eyes snap open, glowing with the strength of 10 tons of soul essence. "I'm back from the dead," she screams, feeling absolutely invincible. Realizing she just drained the elder's entire retirement fund, she books it out of there. Our girl can't believe this little fox is actually a high-tier creature. In this world, pets range from lowly rabbits to unimaginable holy tears. She heads back to the temple with her new companion following close behind. The staff is shocked to see their Saintess has finally returned. She drags the troublemaker away while the victim watches in total disbelief. The door slams shut before any explanations can be given. "Wait, I have something to tell you," the girl screams after her. A nearby maid warns her that the Saintess won't give her the time of day. The girl suddenly realizes she's been pickpocketed in the blink of an eye. Master White Lotus's secret letter has completely vanished from her pocket. Back in her private quarters, our girl is absolutely done with this fox's antics. "Don't go touching random strangers," she yells, pointing an accusing finger. She banishes the fox for 3 days so it can reflect on its bad behavior. Our heroine looks at the stolen letter and decides it's time to get serious. She sits down to meditate and focus her internal energy. Her consciousness enters her soul pet realm, which looks suspiciously like a modern apartment. She finds her water spirit slacking off with video games and the AC on full blast. "How can I care for you if you can't care for yourself?" she screams. The spirit ignores the lecture and shows off a glowing crystal core. Our girl decides to pour all her power into it to force an ascension. A massive surge of energy explodes throughout the tiny room. Her soul power drains at a terrifying speed, leaving her sweating. Suddenly, a system notification reveals the fox has a hidden talent for doubling cultivation. Our girl is floored that this little furball actually has such a broken ability. The breakthrough is a massive success as she officially reaches a new rank. She's moved up from a rank 1 Illuminating Master to a rank 2 Twilight Master. Higher ranks like Abyssal and Demonic are still a long way off. A mysterious new door appears inside her mental sanctuary. She opens it and finds a literal tropical paradise waiting for her. Our heroine is stunned by how much her realm has improved. The pets are ready to dive into the water, but she stops them cold. "You can play later, we have work to do," she barks. She checks the new list of combat skills available for her water spirit. She's confused why a water creature only has ice-based attacks. "Did that mud whale knock a screw loose in your head?" she wonders. The spirit gets fired up and demands to learn a new move. Our girl decides to teach it Frozen Binds for maximum crowd control. Now that she's stronger, it's time to enter the secret trench realm for real training. Our girl steps into the legendary training grounds of the secret trench realm. She smiles, finally returning to the place that once defined her childhood. Back then, she was just a crying mess traumatized by the constant training. But things are different now that our heroine has finally grown up. A low-tier horned horror appears, but she isn't even breaking a sweat. "Let's try my water spirit first," she says, ready for a test. The massive beast charges forward with its glowing horns aimed right at her. Her spirit instantly uses Frozen Binds to lock the monster in place. "The day you could instantly kill that thing actually came," she whispers. Suddenly, a whole herd of monsters rushes in to overwhelm our brave girl. Her spirit unleashes a massive waterfall followed by a deadly ice rain. After ascending to the Twilight rank, her power is reaching insane new heights. The defeated beasts turn into pure soul power for her to absorb. Feeling cocky, she decides it's time to crank up the difficulty level. The system evaluates her strength and prepares a much more dangerous challenge. A massive flame spirit emerges from the heat of the 8th difficulty. Suddenly skipping to mid-tier soul beasts is a bit much, she yells. She swaps her water spirit out for the adorable but mysterious little fox. "Abyssal seas," she commands, calling forth the power of the deep ocean. The intense water pressure causes the fiery spirit to immediately collapse. The monster is extinguished, leaving nothing but steam in the dark cavern. Suddenly, our girl clutches her throat as the air vanishes from the room. "Wow, what the hell, I can't breathe," she gasps in total panic. She falls to her knees, realizing the attack affected her as well. Even the poor little fox is foaming at the mouth from its own power. "The enemy can't move, but neither can we," she grumbles during the stalemate. She has no choice but to summon her reliable water spirit back again. Our girl is shocked when the spirit appears without her even calling it. It immediately uses Frozen Binds to secure the remaining fire-based enemies. Massive amounts of soul power flood into her body as the monsters disintegrate. Her water spirit looks smug while the little fox claps in pure adoration. Outside, the guide explains that this realm is only for the elite few. Our girl is buried in research, trying to figure out her own weird powers. "Gah, I can't find it anywhere," she cries, looking like she's about to have a breakdown. She's sneaking around the library, terrified of getting caught and having to pay a fine. "Little Foxy, did you find anything?" she asks, hoping her pet is actually being useful. She flops onto the floor, finally cracking open the right book with her little fox friend. Suddenly, it hits her, she has a legendary heavy soul body. "Turns out this Saintess was a 1 in a million prodigy after all," she brags. Her water spirit just stares at her, clearly thinking she's lost her mind. But wait, the book says she should have 2 soul pets, not just 1. "Did you eat your brother?" she screams, accusing the poor blob of cannibalism. The spirit thinks she's got a screw loose, but she's too busy celebrating. Meanwhile, at a serene lotus pond, rumors of our girl's success are spreading. A subordinate reports that the sorrowful saint has finally ascended past the illuminating rank. "Took her long enough," Master White Lotus scoffs, her voice dripping with pure arrogance. The servant warns that our girl's water emperor is actually a massive threat. But White Lotus just stares at her flower, acting like she isn't bothered at all. Our girl returns to the main academy, her eyes set on becoming even more powerful. "Where should I train next?" she wonders, crossing her arms in deep thought. A student rushes over, shouting, "Saintess, you're finally back." She heads straight into the icy depths for a ritual she thinks is totally useless. The system announces the start of the 208th round of the Soul Hell trial. A group of girls immediately swarm her, clinging to their big sister Gong. One of them points toward the exit, eager to reach the next level. The little ones are terrified of being separated from their favorite senior. "The reward for passing is an ice soulstone," one girl explains, eyes sparkling. Our girl can't help but laugh at how practical kids are these days. "Let's go to Senior Gong," they shout, and she agrees to lead the way. She powers up, looking every bit like the divine saintess she's faking to be. The system pings with a victory message, granting her that sweet ice soulstone. But the next stage is a literal nightmare. She has to destroy a massive boulder. Our girl stares down a massive, menacing boulder. She summons her water spirit to handle the heavy lifting. "Break that rock," she commands with total confidence. The spirit looks at her like she's absolutely lost her mind. She tries to bribe the little guy with head pats and promises. With With a heavy sigh, the spirit finally decides to give it a shot. It floats into the air, gathering its power. Water droplets begin to swirl and multiply around it. Frozen binds, the spirit cries as its eyes glow with power. It solidifies the water into sharp, jagged shards of ice. The shards tinkle through the air, gathering speed. They combine into a massive ice drill and slam into the target. But when the smoke clears, the rock is completely unharmed. Our girl realizes she's going to need a lot more offensive power. Suddenly, she's transported back, feeling a chill in her hand. She realizes her current strength just isn't enough to make a dent. She can't believe it, the ice soulstone actually came back with her. She needs to get stronger fast before her secrets are exposed. She calls her spirit back out for a little power-up session. Here, you can eat this, she says, offering the precious stone. The spirit doesn't hesitate and takes a big bite. It gulps the treasure down in one go. A blinding light fills the room as the evolution begins. But when she checks the stats, nothing has changed at all. You little thief, spit my rock back out right now, she screams. Before she can finish strangling it, a weird screen flashes by. A message appears telling her to come out immediately. Our girl looks confused, wondering what the hell is happening. She realizes it's a soul transmission from her teacher, Shui Kinghu. This woman is a top-tier concubine and our girl's foster mother. She's the one who brought our heroine into the palace years ago. Stop flexing and leave me alone, I've had a bad day, our girl yells back. She can't believe such a spineless woman holds such a high rank. Even the spirit thinks she's being a total brat to her mom. She heads to the highest peak in the palace to meet her. Teacher, what is it? She asks, looking totally exhausted. But the great deputy lord is just a sobbing, blubbering mess. Our girl is not impressed and asks why she should care about elections. The teacher just keeps wailing like a heartbroken toddler. Eventually, she explains that soul beasts are acting up in the Storm Realm. She's terrified they might attack during the upcoming Saintess elections. The Storm Realm is a dangerous place where few dare to venture. She begs our girl to go undercover and protect the other children. I refuse, our girl says without a single moment of hesitation. She tells her it's way too much trouble and tries to leave. But then the teacher mentions scoping out her rival's combat skills. Our girl's eyes light up as she grabs the mission scroll. Damn right I'm going, she cheers. The group prepares to board the massive ocean halberd behemoth for their journey. Our girl hands over her identification to the guard to get cleared. The badge clearly marks her as the Saintess, but she needs to keep it low-key. SHH, don't make a fuss, she warns the shocked girl standing next to her. She uses soul transmission to explain she's actually on a top-secret mission. The other girl is absolutely losing it over being included in a secret plan. They begin the boarding process into the literal belly of the beast. Our heroine stares at the creature, wondering how they're even supposed to get inside. Suddenly, the monster stretches out its giant tongue to act as a ramp. Everyone starts screaming as they slide down the disgusting, slimy surface. Hey, how are you so calm? The others ask as our girl stands perfectly still. The beast prepares to close its massive jaws as the last contestants enter. The tutor is impressed by her resolve and offers to make her a disciple. Our girl finally makes it to her room, which is surprisingly luxurious. She immediately warns her pets to stay off the bed since it belongs to her. 4 hours into the trip, she's just chilling and catching up on some reading. Suddenly, her water spirit pops out of nowhere, looking totally exhausted. Why do you keep coming out to waste my soul power? She demands. The little spirit remains completely silent, giving her the cold shoulder. She asks what happened to its usual chirping, fearing a rebellious phase. Our poor heroine sighs, realizing she needs to find a more obedient pet soon. The entire room suddenly jerks as the behemoth slams on its brakes. Outside, the massive transport beast is struggling through a violent storm. The tutor senses something abnormal on the island and decides to investigate. She summons a flaming soul horse and charges straight into the pouring rain. Back in the room, the water spirit is acting even weirder than before. The little fox starts yipping in terror, sensing a massive threat nearby. A violent rumble shakes the entire cabin as the situation turns south. All across the ship, the soul pets are losing their minds with fear. One girl desperately tries to catch her rabbit as it bolts away. A deafening wail echoes as the behemoths collide in the dark water. Our girl realizes her teacher's warnings might have been right all along. The journey leads our girl straight to the ominous fallen whale island. She crawls onto the jagged shore, coughing up lungs full of seawater. What was that bastard thinking, spitting us out like trash? She growls. She quickly summons her water spirit and orders it to scout the area. But the little blob just floats there with a major attitude problem. Don't get sassy with me, just do your job, she screams. The spirit reluctantly drifts off, looking like it would rather be anywhere else. Apparently, eating an ice soulstone didn't boost its power, just its ego. She looks up at the swirling purple clouds, sensing something is deeply wrong. The abnormal sky suggests they're being hunted by forces from the storm realm. To be safe, she brings out her little fox for extra protection. She can't call for backup because the fog makes signals a death trap. Her only priority now is finding her tutor before the real monsters arrive. A sudden whoosh cuts through the trees with lethal, ghostly precision. A massive storm monster lunges out, instantly tearing through her water spirit. A soul beast from the storm realm, she gasps, clutching her trembling fox. A towering, bandaged wind spirit emerges from the shadows, ready to kill. A masked woman mocks her, asking how it feels to watch a pet die. Our girl realizes her teacher was right about the danger lurking here. Why aren't you crying? The villainess asks, confused by her calm face. She brags that her wind spirit can crush 10 water spirits easily. The monster charges up a devastating wind drill to finish our girl off. Our girl doesn't flinch and orders her fox to activate abyssal seas. A massive explosion of power rocks the entire forest floor in seconds. The wind spirit is sent reeling, coughing as the illusion takes hold. Don't stop, keep attacking, the masked woman shrieks, losing her cool. Our girl is stunned when the enemy breaks the illusion so quickly. The villainess laughs, explaining that the storm realm drains a pet's courage. She orders the final strike, screaming for our poor heroine to die. But the water spirit wasn't dead, and it's finally done playing around. It triggers frozen binds, erupting massive ice spikes from the frozen ground. The masked woman is skewered instantly, unable to comprehend the ice power. The little spirit just stares at her with cold, indifferent eyes. You almost made me pee myself waiting that long, our girl yells. Her relief is short-lived as she hears enemy backup closing in. She needs a plan fast to stop the main force from arriving. Seconds later, she's wearing the enemy's clothes, ready for a deadly masquerade. Our girl panics as her water spirit tries to dress the unconscious enemy. Stop taking off her underwear, she shrieks, trying to keep things family-friendly. She desperately commands her little fox to transform into a wind spirit to complete the ruse. Suddenly, a massive shadow looms as the legendary Lord of Stone touches down. A hooded senior sister stares her down, demanding to know what happened to the new recruit. Our girl immediately starts brown-nosing, praising the senior's cool soul pet. But the boss isn't buying the flattery and demands a full combat report. Our girl plays it cool, claiming she already dealt with the noob from the palace. The senior sister remains suspicious and orders her to summon her soul pet right now. With a gulp, our girl tells the little fox to shift into a wind spirit. Out pops a weird, pink, spiral-looking creature that looks absolutely nothing like a spirit. The boss stares at the abomination, wondering what on earth she's looking at. Our girl shamelessly lies, claiming it's a unique evolved form with a special look. An awkward silence fills the air as the two just stare at each other. Miraculously, the boss buys it and welcomes her into the inner circle. She looks at the unconscious girl, mocking her trashy taste and fashion. The senior then pulls out expensive recovery essences our girl missed during the search. Our girl cries inside, realizing she almost lost a fortune in high-grade loot. But the boss actually hands them back, earning some major respect points. Trying to push her luck, our girl brings up the chaotic state of the local pets. She asks if they can actually take down a holy tier beast from the palace. In your dreams, the boss scoffs, insisting they finish the job and run. Our girl realizes a hidden beast in this realm is nerfing everyone's potential. But the senior notices the wind spirit is shaking like a leaf. Afraid of what, the boss asks, sensing something is very wrong. Our girl points toward the sky, desperately trying to keep the lie going. The senior finally snaps, realizing wind spirits aren't supposed to feel fear at all. She orders the Lord of Stone to smash our girl into a pancake. Our girl drops the act, ordering the fox to unleash the abysmal seas. The boss chokes, realizing she's trapped in a high-tier illusion. Our girl leaves the rest to her water spirit as she makes her move. Massive pillars of groundwater erupt, catching the stone beast off guard. The Lord of Stone tries to defend with steel wing, but it's a total mess. Our girl's life flashes before her eyes as a massive shadow looms over her. A terrifying hellfire dragon has arrived, and it looks hungry for a snack. A mysterious girl in a hoodie identifies the beast as a high-tier monster. Our girl is practically weeping with joy, thinking she's finally been saved. The dragon growls at a stone beast, ready to turn it into pebbles. Don't be scared, Lord of Stone, the hooded girl shouts to her pet. She reminds her beast of all the hard training they did to win. Now's our chance, let's become even stronger, she commands with a roar. But the dragon just huffs, completely unimpressed by the little rock guy. With one massive blast of fire, the dragon incinerates everything in its path. The poor Lord of Stone is defeated, leaving everyone at the dragon's mercy. The hooded girl is knocked cold, her clothes torn from the intense blast. Our girl can only watch in absolute awe of the dragon's overwhelming power. Which great hero lent us a hand here? She asks, feeling hopeful. The dragon turns its glowing eyes toward her, and the vibe shifts instantly. Our girl tries to act cute, letting out a nervous little meow. It doesn't work, and the dragon chomps down on her in one bite. She wakes up inside the dragon's stomach, covered in gross, sticky slime. I didn't die, I'm alive, she cries out, shocked to be breathing. Her relief is short-lived when a sharp blade is pointed at her throat. Show me your identification or I'll burn you to ashes, a voice demands. It's Card Hearts, another Saintess candidate, and she looks ready for blood. Our girl panics, knowing her identity as the weak Saintess could be exposed. The dragon's saliva got into my eye, she lies, trying to hide her face. Card Hearts warns her that the slime is poisonous and could cause blindness. She explains she had the dragon swallow her to keep her safe. I'm actually an illegitimate daughter named Shui Kingyu, our girl bluffs. Card Hearts is stunned by the scandalous gossip she just heard. Our girl realizes her concealer washed off and her face is fully visible. She doubles down on the act, begging the girl to believe her lies. But those moles underneath your eyes look just like the Saintess, Card Hearts notes. I just admire her so much I tattooed them myself, our girl squeals. She grabs the girl's hands, trying to distract her with some fake drama. Look, my pupils aren't teardrop shaped like hers at all, she insists. Alright, so tell me your true identity again, the redhead asks. Our girl sweats bullets, realizing her lie has a massive plot hole. Card Hearts is living for the tea, excited about the illegitimate daughter story. Desperate to change the subject, our girl asks about the beast in the storm. Card Hearts pulls up a projection linked directly to the dragon's vision. They see a massive, terrifying creature flying through the dark clouds. It's an 8-headed mist crow that uses fear to paralyze its enemies. My hellfire dragon was born without fear, so it's not affected, she brags. Our girl realizes her water spirit is also safe because it's too derpy. Please help us defeat that monster, our girl begs with tears in her eyes. She tries to hype her up, saying she could become a legendary hero. Card Hearts just blinks and says she definitely can't beat that thing. The crow is almost demonic level, far beyond her current power. I'll keep you safe here until the real reinforcements arrive tomorrow, she promises. The purple-haired girl and her wolf are running for their lives. A massive monster looms right behind her, carrying a sadistic villain. Another enemy prepares to strike with a glowing trident. Suddenly, Yu Ying charges in on her flaming Pegasus to save the day. Head east and don't look back, she commands the survivor. The villainous girl smirks, recognizing Yu Ying from the previous slaughter. You'll be the 20th victim, she screams with glee. She mocks Yu Ying, noticing her horse is already at its limit. Demon Flame, stay strong, Yu Ying whispers to her exhausted beast. Things go from bad to worse as enemy backup surrounds them. Yu Ying grits her teeth, knowing she has to use her secret weapon. Meanwhile, our girl is busy playing a high-stakes game of cards. She's just chilling while a literal war zone is happening outside. Her companion is sweating bullets, worried about the intense fighting. I feel so guilty for slacking off right now, the blue-haired girl whimpers. Our girl calmly explains that they can't win without a holy tier beast. Only a holy tier creature can neutralize the enemy's fear effect. But those beasts are national treasures and shouldn't show up here. Suddenly, a massive hellfire dragon emerges from the shadows. The purple-haired girl begs the dragon to save Yu Ying. Our girl is stunned to see she actually has dedicated fangirls. Hide in the woods while I handle this, she orders the group. The fans cheer, calling their senior the most reliable person ever. Our girl sighs, thinking about the heavy burden an idol must bear. Back on the battlefield, Yu Ying's Pegasus unleashes a wave of fire. The villain can't believe the horse is still this powerful. Demon Flame glows with an intense, otherworldly green light. It's burning its own crystal core for one final desperate stand. Just then, our girl arrives on the back of the hellfire dragon. The villains freeze in terror at the sight of the legendary beast. The dragon lets out a massive blast of fire, clearing the field. Yu Ying looks up, barely believing her eyes as help arrives. Is that Card Hearts just in the nick of time, she gasps. Demon Flame finally gives out and collapses into the dirt. Yu Ying gently pets her horse, thanking it for working so hard. Let's hurry up and leave this place, our girl shouts. The villainous girl screams in rage as they try to escape. Your deaths are on the way, she warns with a crazy look. Yu Ying is confused, wondering who this high master could be. The 8-headed mist crow screeches as it spots its new prey. Our girl sees the massive bird and orders an immediate retreat. Deep in the darkness, a mysterious demon queen watches from her throne. She notices the dragon and decides it's time for a snack. It's catching up, accelerate, our girl screams in panic. But the dragon is already flying at its absolute maximum speed. Our heroine knows that if they get caught, it's game over. The mist crow strikes, its massive head snapping at the dragon. The force of the impact sends Yu Ying tumbling through the air. The dragon roars in agony as it tries to stay airborne. The crow's heads tear into the dragon's flesh with savage hunger. With a deafening crash, the dragon is slammed into the earth. Yu Ying watches in horror as the legendary beast is overwhelmed. She falls through the canopy, crashing through branches and leaves. Our poor heroine hits the ground hard, coughing up fresh blood. She looks up, seeing the giant shadow of the crow above her. The mist crow stands triumphantly over the dragon's broken body. The demon mistress smiles, calling the dragon a tasty new snack. Yu Ying screams as the crow prepares to finish her off. The multiple heads of the bird screech right in her face. Don't come any closer, she cries, paralyzed with pure terror. Our girl is pinned down, blood dripping from her forehead. She looks completely exhausted as the dragon lies defeated beneath her. Little fox, do it, she whispers with her last bit of strength. The small creature prepares to unleash its hidden true power. A blinding golden light begins to swirl in the fox's eye. Suddenly, a massive explosion of energy blasts the mist crow away. The little fox unleashes its true power, catching the enemy completely off guard. The massive mist crow falls, leaving the battlefield in absolute silence. The enemy soul master can't believe her eyes as she stares at the beast. A holy tier soul beast, she stammers, her confidence vanishing in an instant. It turns out our girl's plan to have the fox mimic a decoy actually worked. Next, it's our turn to fight back. The team screams as they rally. One by one, the allies feel their dormant powers surging back to life. They charge forward with a newfound fire, ready to destroy everything in their path. The pink-clad villainess panics, wondering how they could have possibly healed so fast. Gong Lianyu arrives on the scene, looking like the ultimate savior of the day. But the victory is short-lived as the fallen crow begins to stir. The abyssal soul master sneers, refusing to let a newbie take her down. I'll show you the power of an abyssal-level soul master, she roars. A terrifying pillar of purple light erupts, shaking the very foundations of the earth. The mist crow's severed heads begin to stitch themselves back together in seconds. It rises again, more grotesque and powerful than it was before. The head regenerated, our girl screams, her heart sinking into her stomach. The little fox prepares for round 2, but the odds are looking grim. This enemy is at the absolute peak of power, and it shows. The soul master pulls out a sinister red pill to feed her baby. Our heroine tries to keep her cool, reminding everyone the fox is still mimicking a holy tier. She coos at the beast, treating the monster like a common pet. The crow swallows the pill and its aura turns a blood-red shade. A massive massive explosion of red energy signals that things are about to get messy. Nearby, the poor Snowfang rabbit faints from the sheer pressure of the aura. The villainess laughs, mocking the group for their pathetic display of fear. Even a high tier can challenge a holy tier with this pill, she cackles. She wants to see if the fox is really as strong as it looks. The little fox stands its ground, staring down the buffed-up monster. The bird towers over its master, ready to tear everything apart. Little fox, don't panic, our girl yells, trying to stay composed. She's seen enough drama to know that a good bluff can save lives. She instructs the fox to puff out its chest and act like a boss. The crow screeches in the fox's face, trying to break its spirit. Quick, just do as I say, the Saintess commands with absolute authority. The fox stands tall, looking like a majestic god among common beasts. The massive bird hesitates, genuinely confused by the fox's lack of fear. Miss Crow, what are you doing? The master screams in total frustration. The bird begins to sweat, feeling the pressure of the fox's fake aura. But the bluff fails instantly when a needle pierces right through the fox. The white fox lunges forward, sinking its teeth into the massive dark bird. The beast's energy flares as it gets dragged into a glowing vortex. Our heroine plunges into the depths of a mysterious green sea. The villainess can't believe her eyes as the tide turns against her. The giant mist crow is completely submerged in the crushing weight of the water. It sinks deeper into the abyss, helpless against the overwhelming pressure. What is this? An illusion? The horned woman gasps in total disbelief. The massive beast fades into the dark blue void, seemingly defeated for good. With the threat gone, the little fox collapses from pure exhaustion. Our girl rushes over, offering a healing potion to her brave little protector. But the villainess just smirks, sensing the illusion is finally starting to break. Our heroine celebrates, proud of how strong they've both become. Ha ha ha, it was merely a high-tier soul beast in disguise, the villainess mocks. Suddenly, the real mist crow returns with a bone-shattering strike. The poor water spirit gets caught in the crossfire, looking absolutely terrified. Water spirit, our girl screams, her heart sinking as chaos erupts again. Violent red lightning begins to tear through the sky like a nightmare. The villainess unleashes a soul-devouring spell to snatch the fox away. It's a forbidden taboo that forcefully steals a master's soul pet. The little fox shrieks in agony as the dark energy grips its soul. Just give up and you won't have to suffer, the villainess sneers. Our poor heroine watches in horror as her companion trembles in pain. A loud crack echoes through the air as a crystal core begins to shatter. The fox falls limp, yet the villainess is confused why the soul wasn't taken. But something much darker is now awakening deep within our heroine's broken heart. Our girl is absolutely horrified by the monster standing before her. This new form is straight out of a nightmare with glowing eyes and blood-red skin. Even the horned girl can't believe her eyes as she trembles in fear. Just what the hell is this form of yours? She stammers, completely outmatched. Our heroine doesn't answer, her gaze cold and void of any humanity. Down below, the tiny water spirit isn't backing down from the giant birds. It erupts with a blinding flash of light that consumes the entire battlefield. With a mighty roar, it launches a devastating counterattack against the winged beasts. A crystal core shatters under the pressure of its overwhelming power. Our girl clenches her fist, ready to end this once and for all. A massive beam of energy pierces through the darkness, striking the monster directly. The giant bird heads begin to glow with an eerie, pulsating light. Horned girl realizes the battle isn't over yet as she spots more cores. The birds begin to fuse into a single, even more terrifying entity. The two crystal cores merged, she screams as the world turns purple. A malevolent water spirit emerges from the chaos, radiating pure malice. Horned girl can't believe a mere water spirit could possess such a terrifying aura. It looks absolutely menacing, like a demon born from the deep sea. Panic sets in as she realizes they are completely outclassed by this presence. Crow, run, take me and run, she shrieks, abandoning the fight. She knows there is absolutely no way to defeat this malicious creature. The giant bird monster retreats into the distant mountains, desperate to survive. Horned girl is left reeling, shocked that the Sea Alliance hid such a beast. Suddenly, a massive purple fist erupts, crushing everything in its path. The impact is so violent that the horned girl is nearly blown away. A giant hand reaches for the heavens, signaling the end of the conflict. Intense energy waves ripple through the air as the island is finally silenced. The silhouette of a crow flees across the glowing, chaotic sky. A giant fist reaches for the heavens, signaling the end of the conflict. The villagers watch in awe as the massive energy construct towers over them. Spirits finally begin returning to their original forms as the battle concludes. Our girl eventually wakes up with zero memory of her godlike performance. Meanwhile, Card Hearts is resting safely in a hospital bed after her ordeal. Their teacher Yu Ying wasn't so lucky and got demoted for her failure. 2 weeks pass and our girl meets her teacher atop the high walls. The teacher hands over a pile of valuable soul crystals as a reward. These shards are used to strengthen soul pets and increase their power. One single black crystal is worth a staggering 800 contribution points. Our girl pretends to be humble as she accepts the shiny loot, but her greedy side immediately comes out as she demands even more. Since the election was a total bust, there's actually a bonus prize. The teacher offers her a high-tier iron jade ice scorpion as a final gift. Masked girl drops a bombshell, explaining that our girl's blood vessels actually ruptured from too much power. Our girl is completely baffled because little fox was only supposed to be mimicking that holy aura. Apparently, this dangerous power surge is exactly why she was summoned here today. To keep her in check, she's being offered a high-tier ice scorpion as a restrictive of reward. The next morning starts with a scream as our girl goes looking for her fox companion. That greedy little furball ate all the expensive beast feed meant for her new scorpion pet. With no other choice, our poor heroine has to sacrifice her precious crystal cores for the contract. She hasn't even started the hard part yet, and she's already feeling the pain. She heads deep into the holy spring, where the legendary beast is supposedly waiting for her. The cave is pitch black as she wades through the freezing, misty waters. She's never ventured this far into the depths before, and the atmosphere is chilling. Suddenly, a massive shadow looms over her, making her pray the beast isn't feeling aggressive. It's the iron jade ice scorpion, and its presence is absolutely terrifying to behold. Instead of running, our girl decides to dive right in and tame this potential boss. The creature leans in close, inspecting the glowing crystal core she holds out. It snaps its pincers and prepares to snatch the rare treasure from her hand. The scorpion doesn't hesitate and immediately starts chomping down on the expensive treat. Our girl smirks, thinking that filling a monster's stomach is better than any verbal promise. She confidently initiates the soul contract, expecting an easy win with this high-tier pet, but the system cold-heartedly rejects her, leaving her standing there in total disbelief. She's devastated that she wasted a top-tier crystal core just to get ghosted by a bug. She wonders if she needs to beat it into submission, but she knows she's currently outmatched. Oddly enough, the scorpion looks just as stressed and sweaty as she does right now. To figure out what's wrong, she decides to peek inside her own soul pet realm. The moment she steps inside, she's greeted by a total disaster zone and starts screaming. Her little slime pet, Ryua, leads her through the messy room to a mysterious door. Ryua pulls the handle, revealing the shocking secret hidden behind the threshold. Our girl nearly loses her mind at the sight of the seven hells waiting inside. Her once peaceful realm has transformed into a literal lake of fire and brimstone. Desperate for answers, our girl starts digging through ancient texts to find a fix. She finally finds the secret method required to repair a damaged soul pet realm. The book states she must reach the middle stage of the Twilight level to succeed. Our heroine realizes she's just a few steps away from the breakthrough she needs. Returning to reality, she prepares to finish her bath and claim her new power. Our girl summons her little spirits to welcome their new friend. "You guys will be family soon, so get to know each other," she chirps. Suddenly, a massive, menacing scorpion towers over the tiny pets. The little ones stare up in absolute terror at the giant bug. The scorpion goes on high alert, ready to snap its pincers. But then it just looks completely confused by the situation. Our girl offers it some special beast feed to win its heart. The monster takes a big bite and decides this isn't so bad. It's a friendship success as they start a literal dance party. Our girl realizes she finally has enough soul power to reach the next stage. Outside, a massive storm rages against the cliffs with terrifying force. The waves crash down, completely obliterating everything in their path. As the tide recedes, the sheer power of the elements is clear. Our girl meditates through the chaos and successfully levels up. "I can't believe I reached the middle stage so quickly," she exclaims. She's feeling herself, calling herself a total late-game scaling genius. She watches her pets vibing and knows they'll get along great. To make things official, she swallows the last crystal cores. "Binding contract," she commands, pointing her finger at the beast. The scorpion roars as the magical energy begins to swirl. Suddenly, our girl is pulled into the creature's deepest memories. She sees a young breeder who found the scorpion when it was just a baby. Our girl watches the touching scenes of their past together. The breeder taught the scorpion its very first combat skills. The little scorpion was so happy just to be by her side. "Do you want a contract with me?" the girl had asked. But she sadly admitted she was just a breeder with no rights. The scorpion was heartbroken, wanting only to stay with its friend. She told him to work hard so a real Saintess would pick him. The contract is a success, and the iron jade ice scorpion is officially hers. Her team is growing stronger with the grass fox and water spirit ready. Even the low-tier water spirit is showing some serious potential. Since she can only summon two, the scorpion heads to the soul realm. "I better head back and change for the trial," our girl notes. She steps out of the cave, ready to face the world again. She generously asks to transfer points to the scorpion's original breeder. She arrives at the Temple of the Boulder, remembering her past failure. "Last time I couldn't even leave a scratch on this thing," she mutters. But now she has a secret weapon standing right behind her. Our girl smirks, knowing this time the result will be very different. The training ground features a massive boulder that looks completely impossible to break. Scorpy isn't intimidated at all and prepares to unleash a terrifying combat skill. With a loud sizzle, the scorpion creature readies its power for a final blow. Suddenly, a massive crack echoes through the air as the rock goes kaboom. The shockwave is so intense that our poor girl gets sent tumbling backwards. Scorpy just exhales, looking like a total boss after that display of power. Our girl is rolling through the air, shouting that she's finally invincible. She's literally flying out of the area like a human rocket ship. "I'm literally going sky high," she screams while tears stream down her face. She begs for a water spirit to save her from this altitude. Thankfully, a little blue spirit appears and tries to keep her from falling. But gravity is a cruel mistress, and she goes cosplat down below. Meanwhile, Scorpy is still going ham on the rocks with a flurry of strikes. Our girl whimpers, begging him to stop before the tremors break her. Suddenly, a notification pops up confirming that a new ability has activated. Scorpy glows with a green light as he prepares the five-leaf clover strike. With a sharp sking, his tail cuts through the air like a blade. "Will it even work on a rock?" she asks, watching the poison hit. A massive massive effwhoosh of black smoke erupts as the chemical reaction begins. When the smoke clears, the giant boulder has been reduced to ash. Our girl is stunned that Scorpy's poison is this incredibly powerful. Before she can celebrate, the system announces that the trial has ended. She heads over to the library to do some research on these skills. The ability encyclopedia should be around here somewhere, she says while searching. She finally grabs the right book, hoping to find more pet secrets. She realizes the poison is dozens of times deadlier than she imagined. But then she notices her little fox is reading some scandalous romance novels. A mysterious girl laughs, teasing our heroine for being into those stories. This green-haired fangirl has completely lost her mind. Our girl is sweating bullets, wondering if this is just another obsessed stalker. Even her little fox is trying to warn her that things are about to get weird. She asks if there's some kind of danger, but the vibe is just plain creepy. The girl starts acting totally unhinged right there on the library table. Our heroine decides she's seen enough and makes a break for it. I'm not dealing with this pervert today, she thinks while bolting for the exit. As she leaves, a weird green vine slithers out from the crazy girl's clothes. It drops to the floor like a living creature. The bizarre plant thing rises up and looks around the empty room. It spots the little fox's seat and decides to make a move. It hops onto the chair like it owns the place. Then it starts licking the seat in the most disturbing way possible. Our girl finally gets some peace and quiet while snacking on the way back. But a messenger ruins her mood, claiming important guests have been waiting for ages. She heads to the main palace to find the heavy hitters already assembled. Ambassadors from the 3rd and 5th Ice Shield palaces are staring her down. Our girl puts on her sorrowful Saintess persona to look the part. The room is dead silent as they analyze every move she makes. Is she staring because of my outfit, or does she have a weird fetish? Our heroine wonders. The deputy lord gets straight to the point to explain the crisis. She brings up the terrifying legend of the Monarch of Snow. Centuries ago, a powerful faction called the Spirit Connection Pond ruled the land. They got greedy and tried to kidnap a lone Yukiana. That mistake invited the wrath of a legendary soul beast. Back at the table, our girl's sidekick admits she cheated on all her exams. Our heroine is already regretting waking up this morning. The ambassadors officially request her help to stop the Yukiana from crossing the border. Our girl tries to say no, but her friends sell her out for the glory. They brag about being the wealthiest palace while pushing her into the line of fire. Now our girl has to babysit a monster and stop a war at the same time. Her friends give her a cheeky smile, clearly enjoying her misery. Meanwhile, the ambassadors are already plotting to steal the prize for themselves. Far away in the soul pet realm, a lonely blue spirit watches the waves. It lets out a heavy sigh, unaware of the chaos heading its way. The ambassador confirms the sorrowful Saintess will help chase out the Yukiana. It's time to fulfill the contract and hand over the promised payment. They reveal an ancient tattered page from the legendary Lost Scroll. Our girl can't believe the Ice Shield Palace is actually willing to pay this. This scroll is the literal origin of all modern soul arts. It's the core power that keeps their entire society running. From basic pet summoning to advanced soul-devouring spells, it's all in there. But what people know now is just the tip of the iceberg. Legend says deciphering it allows humans to rule the universe without any pets. Our girl realizes they basically sold her for a dusty old rock. That slab is more important to you than my life, she screams. Her boss laughs it off, claiming they've already organized military support. This joint exercise is a strategic response to the Storm Realm's recent attacks. But the boss's creepy smile reveals she's just looking for a scapegoat. Our girl realizes this lady is playing 5D chess with everyone's lives. As the ambassadors prepare to leave, a familiar voice rings out. A mysterious girl stops them, demanding they stay a bit longer. It's the green-haired girl who wants to have some fun at the palace. Our girl freezes, recognizing her as the pervert from the library. The ambassadors immediately cave to the girl's whims and stay. Our girl is sweating bullets, wondering what kind of monster this chick is. The boss introduces her as the wrathful Saintess Luo. Our girl is horrified to learn this crazy person is also a Saintess. Later, she locks herself away to pray for some peace of mind. Just the thought of a stalker in the palace makes her anxious. If a true Saintess stays near her, her imposter secret will be exposed. She imagines the crowd abandoning her for the new, exciting girl. They'll probably beg the wrathful Saintess to punish the fake one. She decides she needs to gear up and finish her mission fast. But as she opens her door, her heart nearly stops. Luo is already inside, hugging a doll and acting sweet. "What are you doing in my room, you pervert?" she screams. The green-haired girl leans in way too close for comfort. Our girl is fuming because her peaceful life is being totally ruined. She demands the intruder leave before things get violent. But Luo just smirks, clearly not planning to go anywhere. Our girl tries to hide in a disguise while heading to the hall. But the stalker finds her instantly and demands a date. Our girl is being harassed by this green-haired clingy girl who just won't let go. Greenie points out some fancy taiyaki snacks, trying to win her over with food. "I want to eat that one," she chirps while dragging our heroine along. Our poor girl is absolutely fuming fuming at this point. Stay away from me before I lose it in public, she warns. She storms off, leaving the clingy girl behind in the dust. She wanders through the town alone, trying to clear her head. But wait, where did her little fox companion disappear to? She starts frantically running around the plaza, calling out for her furry friend. She checks a lingerie shop, but there's no fox to be found among the bras. Next, she peeks into the local bathhouse, but it's another dead end. Did it get scared off by that wrathful Saintess? She wonders. She stumbles upon a stall selling secret medicines from the Western realm. Inside sits the legendary dominant blood pill on a velvet cushion. Our girl can't believe her luck finding such a rare item here. The little fox finally reappears, looking very interested in the shiny red pill. Fine boss, give me one of those, she declares. Suddenly, Greenie appears out of nowhere and demands 3 pills at once. Our girl is completely stunned by this sudden display of wealth. Greenie just winks and wiggles a bag full of expensive medicine. Oh no, she's actually a rich lady, our heroine realizes. Walk with me today and these are all yours, Greenie teases. Our girl tries to maintain her dignity and refuses the bribe. I'd rather die in the wilderness than accept your charity, she screams. Greenie ignores the drama and orders 8 more divine heart fruits. Before she knows it, they're sitting together and sharing snacks. Our girl asks about the pay scale over at the Ice Shield Palace. We don't get paid a single cent, Greenie exclaims cheerfully. She explains that in the Storm Realm, you just keep whatever you steal. Our heroine is absolutely baffled by this chaotic logic. They sit in silence for a moment on the bench. Our girl looks over at the taiyaki stall with a longing gaze. Wait a moment, she mutters, standing up abruptly. She returns holding a box of the fish-shaped treats they saw earlier. You said you wanted these, so here's my treat, she stammers. Greenie is practically glowing, calling her the cutest tsundere ever. Our girl decides that even if this girl is a pervert, they can be friends. She picks up a piece and offers to feed her companion. It's my turn to feed you this time, she says softly. Our girl blushes a deep red as she waits for a reaction, but Greenie lands in way too close for comfort. Our heroine's eyes go wide as the tension reaches a breaking point. Our poor heroine is absolutely mortified by what just happened. The onlookers are actually cheering for the scandalous scene. Liang is having the time of her life narrating the drama. The sorrowful Saintess's first kiss was just stolen, she squeals. Our girl spots her teacher and can't believe her eyes. But the news gets even worse for her reputation. A diplomatic marriage is being arranged between the 2 palaces. Yoyu tries to defend herself, claiming she was totally forced. Her rival just smirks, promising even more punishment later. The scene shifts to the majestic lunar sea peak. Liang is already getting emotional over the thought of a wedding. I can't believe Yoyu is already thinking about marriage, she cries. Our girl isn't having it and demands the beast-starred be chased away. She's terrified her reputation is about to be doomed. Liang keeps acting like a proud, weeping foster mother. Yoyu screams that this worthy match is total nonsense, but Liang warns that rejection would sour their political relations. To smooth things over, Liang offers a very tempting bribe. She promises to lend Yoyu the mysterious tattered scroll. Our girl starts imagining the ultimate power-up. She dreams of using the lost soul arts to get revenge. In her head, she's already turning her rival into a pet. She even imagines a magical girl transformation to seal the deal. Back in reality, our girl takes the bait and accepts. Liang wastes no time dragging her to the training grounds. They arrive at the ominous ice-sealed secret chamber. It's our heroine's first time seeing this high-security cube. Suddenly, a massive blast of smoke erupts from the entrance. Someone comes flying out and face splints right into the dirt. What the hell just happened? The victim groans. Liang asks if they managed to decipher the scroll. The answer is a terrifying warning about brain damage. Apparently, 3 students have already lost their minds trying. Liang ignores the danger and pushes our girl forward. She claims the Saintess is strong enough to survive the madness. Yoyu finally realizes she's being used as a human guinea pig. Wait a minute, why didn't I hear about the crazy part? She yells. Before she can run, the 2 teachers toss her inside. Our girl flies through the air like a sack of potatoes. She hits the floor with a painful thud. Inside the dark room, a glowing tablet awaits her. The scroll flashes with a blinding, soul-searing light. Yoyu panics, terrified of becoming a yappin' idiot. The mental strain is immense and her soul power drains rapidly. She realizes she can't let this rare opportunity slip away. Desperate, she pulls out a secret weapon, the dominant blood pill. She swallows the pill to force her way through the technique. Suddenly, a massive moon filled with ancient script appears. Our girl finally opens her eyes, but she looks completely dazed. Yoyu, you're finally awake, her teacher cries out in relief. But the Saintess just stares back with literal swirls in her eyes. Her friends wonder if she's gone crazy, but this is just her not awake look. They desperately want to know what she saw inside that secret chamber. Yoyu tries to focus, but her brain feels like it's filled with static. Looks like there's nothing, her teacher sighs, clearly disappointed by the result. She presses our girl, asking if she can remember even a single detail. Yo-Yu just yawns, asking her teacher what time it actually is. You've been out for 3 whole days, the masked woman yells. Yo-Yu's eyes nearly pop out of her head at the shocking news. She's told to head back to her room and get some actual rest. As our girl wanders off, the mood shifts to something much more serious. She steps through the light, unaware of the power radiating from her. The teacher notices her aura has completely changed since leaving the ice chamber. Apparently, Yo-Yu has accidentally hit the peak of the twilight stage. High above, a mysterious moon hangs in the sky, watching over the realm. Even the soul pets can feel the strange energy vibrating through the air. That celestial body is definitely hiding some major, heavy-duty secrets. Back in the Saintess's bedroom, Yo-Yu is trying to relax. Her little spirit companions are already starting to act up and complain. Who's the one usually taking care of you? She snaps at them. Despite the help, she feels more exhausted than she's ever been. Suddenly, she realizes there's something weird happening in the soul pet realm. She stares up at the night sky, feeling a strange, heavy pull. This moon is giving off heavy steel-type soul power, she realizes. She worries the celestial object is going to suck her soul dry. But wait, her soul power is actually increasing instead of draining. It must be a side effect of that freaky secret scroll she saw. She decides to catch some Z's before the big operation begins. A few days later, a massive whale-shaped ship appears on the horizon. The students are buzzing about a joint military exercise with the Ice Shield Palace. This exercise is the new test to find the next Saintess candidates. A report comes in that everyone is officially on board and ready. Lady Quan Jiliang gives the order to open the transport gate. A massive swirling black hole tears through the sky. The sheer power of the gate is absolutely terrifying to behold. As they get sucked in, one student screams about turning into spaghetti. Finally, the group arrives at the breathtaking Valley of Wind. The Valley of Wind serves as the first line of defense. Massive whales glide through the dark, rocky waters below. The students are literally puking rainbows after the spatial transport. The tutors aren't impressed by these weaklings at all. One tutor defends them, blaming the giant-type transportation gate. That just means you're weak, the other tutor snarls. They point to the Saintess as the ultimate gold standard. Our girl looks like a total queen, elegantly reading her book. They can't believe she reached peak level in 3 months. Little do they know, she's just fighting back major acid reflux. An announcement rings out that they've finally arrived at their destination. Only one person can leave the ship every 30 minutes. It's a security measure to catch any potential enemy spies. The crowd is already getting restless and incredibly annoyed. Gong Lianyu is the very first name called to disembark. She's instructed to meet up with the wrathful Saintess. Our girl keeps her cool and simply agrees to the plan. The tutor pulls her aside to give a very specific order. If you find the enemy, remove them on the spot. Don't worry, our heroine replies with a cold, determined gaze. My mercy is not for the enemy, she dramatically declares. The tutor is absolutely swooning over that girl boss energy. She squeals about how cool the Saintess is while blushing. Once alone, our girl checks the distance to the meetup. The map shows a massive distance she has to cover. It's that far, she screams internally at the long trek. Getting caught by a patrol squad would be game over. She calls on her little fox for a quick disguise. The fox gets a bright idea and starts to glow. It transforms into a tall, silver-haired fox girl. Our heroine can't believe her eyes at the sudden change. The fox tosses a pile of dark clothes at her. Then it poofs back into its cute, tiny fox form. Our girl is amazed that clothes just appeared from nowhere. She quickly swaps her uniform for the new, dark look. She steps out looking like a total gothic baddie. Perfect, she says, feeling ready for the dangerous mission. She takes off running toward the rocky, gray mountains. Suddenly, she hears some very suspicious noises coming from nearby. She spots the enemy soldiers and prepares her next move. The white-haired girl's eyes widen in pure shock. Get down, someone is watching us, she screams to her partner. Before they can react, a blinding flash of energy erupts across the canyon. A stylish red boot hits the dirt as the smoke finally clears. Our girl stands tall with her massive blue summon, Scropy, by her side. The beast lets out a terrifying growl at the defeated pair. Our girl sighs, disappointed by the lack of loot on their unconscious bodies. She checks a blue medallion and realizes these rookies are barely worth her time. The dark Valley of Wind remains silent and eerie as she moves on. Suddenly, shadows flicker across the jagged rocks with a sharp, echoing swoosh. Two cloaked figures land on the scene and realize they're far too late. They recognize the fallen girls as newbies from the 3rd Patrol Squad. The lead girl notes that the victims didn't even have time to summon beasts. The enemy must be a master above the abyssal level, she declares. They suspect the Sea Concubine Palace might be behind this brutal ambush. The situation is tense as they discuss the suspicious military exercise. Finding the person responsible for this massacre is now their top priority. Contact headquarters and gather all our forces immediately, the leader orders. Bodies are scattered everywhere, literally embedded into the solid stone. It looks like a war zone with defeated students left in the dust. Meanwhile, our girl is busy counting her growing stack of stolen medallions. 13 already? Using CC before DPS really is the ultimate combo, she chirps. She starts to wonder if she went a little too hard on the rookies. I better get out of here before things get even messier, she decides. She takes off, leaping through the clouds to make her grand escape. The pursuers find even more victims as they track her trail. The junior member looks up to his reliable girl's senior sister with pure admiration. She doesn't care about the enemy's level, she's ready for blood. She's one of the strongest masters in the entire valley right now, the boy thinks. Our girl's red boots hit the ground as she pushes her pace. Damn it, they're gaining on me way faster than I expected, she huffs. A massive skeletal wolf summon suddenly looms over the rocky terrain. The cloaked squad corners her with their terrifying beast ready to strike. Senior sister glares at her, sensing something is definitely off. Our girl quickly dons a mask and summons a goofy pink cat spirit. Did you see a soul master from the sea realm? The pursuers demand. Our girl puts on her best acting face and points toward the distance. The idiots actually believe her and go charging off in the wrong direction. The enemies are hot on their heels, sensing our girl is nearby. They stop dead in their tracks, realizing they've lost sight of their target. Where did that wind demon girl go? The leader demands with a frown. Suddenly, it clicks that they've been following a spy in disguise. She's a soul master from the Sea Concubine Palace, he screams in rage. They charge forward, promising to make her wish she was never born. Our poor heroine isn't worried and tells her fox to ready the abysmal seas. The little pet gives a smug smirk before preparing to unleash its power. The pursuers leap off the cliff, falling straight into her clever trap. They land right in front of her massive blue scorpion, Scorpy. Our girl activates her skills, surrounding the area in a swirling blue mist. A blinding flash fills the canyon as the mental attack takes hold. The energy dissipates, but the enemies aren't as weak as she thought. Our girl gasped, realizing her abysmal seas skill was dispelled in seconds. You really thought a petty illusion would work on us? The girl sneered. She orders her team to attack, and they don't hold anything back. She summons a terrifying skeletal wolf that towers over our poor heroine. The beast lunges forward, but Scorpy is ready to defend his master. He strikes back with a jade crush, sending shockwaves through the ground. Hold her still, the leader shouts, commanding her sister to use her wind. The junior sister unleashes the commandments of wind to pin Scorpy down. Glowing rings of energy lock the scorpion's claws firmly to the floor. Scorpy struggles against the binds, but the wind is far too strong. The skeletal wolf roars, ready to tear our girl limb from limb. A massive explosion of blue energy suddenly rocks the entire battlefield. Little fox, you have to try one more time, our girl pleads. The exhausted pet can only manage a weak yip in response. The enemy's green orb glares with an intense, suffocating light. Suddenly, the wind rings shatter, releasing Scorpy from his glowing prison. Our girl is stunned, especially since her disguise wig has been blown away. My wind cancels all mental attacks, so your illusions are useless, the sister brags. The leader checks on her wolf, expecting it to be totally unharmed. The skeletal beast growls with pure, unadulterated rage at the tiny humans. Our girl can't believe the wolf doesn't have a single scratch on it. You're not bad, but this fight is already over, the girl sneers. She commands the wolf to finish the job and kill our heroine. The wolf leaps into the air, but Scorpy has a deadly surprise waiting. He activates his blood demon skill, drenching the beast in a crimson aura. The wolf's massive skeletal frame begins to crack under the sudden pressure. The blue-eyed girl screams in pain as the recoil hits her like a truck. She loses her footing and drops straight into the dark abyss below. Senior sister, the junior sister cries out, watching her leader fall. Scorpy doesn't stop and unleashes his ultimate five-leaf clover strike. The skeletal wolf is completely pulverized, leaving nothing but dust and bone. Was that seriously a one-shot? Our girl asks, her jaw hitting the floor. She quickly loots a medallion, thrilled to be making a killing on points. Scorpy lets out a low growl, sensing that the danger isn't over yet. Our girl asks what's wrong as she looks around the empty canyon. She looks up and sees shadows lining the tops of the cliffs. A massive army of soul masters has them completely surrounded in the canyon. The backup arrives way too fast for comfort. Time to run, our girl shouts before taking a leap of faith. She dives headfirst into the freezing water to lose her pursuers. The cloaked enemies reach the edge, screaming for a chase, but their leader stops them before they can jump in. Are you suicidal? He barks, explaining that the Sea Alliance can hold their breath for hours. He orders them to set up blockades instead of following her down. The vast ocean stretches out, hiding our heroine in the darkness. Safe for now, she checks her map while treading water. She isn't worried because her personal diving record is a casual 400 hours. Swimming a few hundred kilometers will be a total piece of cake. Suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through her chest. Her eyes glow with a mysterious light as something awakens. Her water spirit emerges on its own, acting very strange. A blinding pillar of light erupts from the depths of the ocean. High above the mountains, a massive swirl of energy begins to form. The sky crackles as the spiritual pressure reaches its peak. A ghostly white figure appears within the freezing storm. This powerful entity looks down with cold, empty eyes. Our heroine stares in awe at the powerful vision. Did the Yukiana set her eyes on me? She wonders nervously. The spirit floats above her, glowing with a soft blue light. She tries to ask it for answers, but it stays silent. The spirit just dims and pulses without saying a word. It's being totally useless and ignoring her questions. Meanwhile, at the Ice Shield Palace, alarms are screaming about holy tier energy. A scout reports that a massive power source is approaching their airspace. The palace lord realizes the Yukiana is finally making a move. They track her heading straight toward the Valley of Wind. Is she going for the sorrowful Saintess? The lord ponders. At the valley entrance, a mysterious woman with a giant brush waits. She senses the aura and knows the intel was spot on. She refuses to let the Yukiana fall into the Sea Alliance's hands. Nearby, a tiny fox creature watches the shore from the shadows. Our girl finally emerges from the water at an unguarded spot. She knows she needs a plan to win over the enemies she'll meet. She spots Scorpy and gets a devious idea. It's time to pull the pity card, she smirks. The cloaked guards approach the cliffside, unaware of the trap. They hear the sounds of a brutal struggle nearby. They see a fox and a scorpion and prepare for battle. Scorpy towers over our girl, looking absolutely terrifying. The beast lets out a blood-curdling roar that echoes through the canyon. The guards spot her and mistake her for a junior in trouble. Pretend to punch me and then run, she whispers to Scorpy. The scorpion blasts her with energy, taking the acting way too far. She flies backward, coughing up a lung from the impact. She hits the ground hard as the enemies charge forward. The leader rushes to her side as her soul practically leaves her body. She plays the role of the tragic hero perfectly. The leader falls for it hook, line, and sinker. A subordinate reports that the beast managed to escape into the water. The leader is absolutely furious that they lost their target. He slams his fist down, mourning their supposed sacrifices. Our girl just smirks internally, proud of her Oscar-worthy performance. Dark clouds swirl over the valley as the atmosphere turns deadly. The guards are suddenly shivering, wondering why the temperature is plummeting so fast. Their leader decides it's time to pack it up and get the injured home. But one hothead isn't having it, screaming that they can't let their target escape. He wants to keep searching, but the leader knows when to call it quits. Continuing on blindly would be too dangerous, she warns her frustrated crew. Looking at this abnormal weather, it's impossible for them to continue the pursuit. The group can only sigh in exhaustion, feeling defeated by the sudden chill. What a coward, the subordinate mutters, clearly hating his boss's cautious leadership. Meanwhile, our girl is tied up in a cart, desperately plotting her escape. Even her little pink pet can only offer a pathetic, bored whimper. Suddenly, a blizzard hits the valley of wind out of nowhere. A blinding flash of light reveals a water spirit right in their midst. Everyone freezes as the spirit stares them down with a blank expression. Is there a spy among us? The guards scream in a total panic. Thinking fast, our girl tackles the spirit, yelling for someone to help her. She claims that if she kills the spirit, the master will take damage. The leader looks on, unimpressed by this chaotic and noisy turn of events. Our girl realizes her chance and prepares to make a frantic break for it. She stands her ground for a second, sweating bullets under their suspicious gaze. Kill her, they roar, unleashing a wave of monsters to hunt her down. Our girl grabs her spirits and runs for her life with everything she's got. Kaya, she screams, narrowly dodging the incoming attacks from the angry mob. But then, a massive explosion of power rocks the entire valley with a boom. A gargantuan, glowing figure emerges from the mist like a beautiful nightmare. That's a holy tier soul beast, the leader gasps, his shades nearly falling off. He recognizes the legendary Yukiana, and the vibe just got 10 times deadlier. Our girl can only stare at the massive entity in total, wide-eyed shock. The spirit looks down with a cold, ethereal beauty that's absolutely terrifying. Wait, we need to run while we still can, our girl shouts, panicked. She commands her scorpion pet to book it out of there immediately. The guards see her fleeing and scream for the leader to stop her. Let her escape, the leader yells, knowing they have much bigger problems now. One wrong move and this holy tier beast will wipe them all out. The Yukiana stands tall, her presence suffocating the entire snowy area. Wait, did she do something? The leader asks, his voice trembling with fear. The spirit slowly raises a pale, glowing hand toward the darkening sky. With a deafening boom, the ground shatters under her absolute icy power. A colossal pillar of ice erupts, dwarfing everything else in the valley. What exactly is that thing, an ice coffin? The leader stammers, staring. Records say no soul master has contracted this beast in a millennium. Every time she appears, she brings that ominous, giant ice coffin with her. Legend says only blood, an eyeball, and a fingernail have emerged from it. And now, for the first time in ages, this will be the fourth. The leader peers closer, wondering if those are white silk threads or hair. The strange energy slices right through the enemy group like they aren't even there. The terrified soldiers can only watch as the lines of light pass through their bodies. High above, the ghostly Yukiana stands majestically while commanding the energy to return. Our girl isn't sticking around to find out what happens and hitches a ride on Scorpy. What's going on? This cold aura is freezing me to the bone, she shivers. A massive impact shakes the ground as the enemies try to hold their position. The leader in the sunglasses is absolutely losing his mind as the pressure mounts. Don't panic, she hasn't shown any signs of attacking us yet, he screams. But his teammates notice something terrifying is happening to his very body. Suddenly, blood sprays across his face as he lets out a pained gasp. They realize too late that her hair strands passed right through them like ghosts. So this is a holy tier soul beast, the Yukiana, the leader stammers. The Yukiana stands over the carnage as blood splatters across her pale face. A massive crash echoes through the canyon as the battle intensifies behind them. Our girl doesn't wait for a second invitation and pushes Scorpy to go even faster. We're almost at the agreed gathering spot, she cries out, hoping for backup. She thinks she'll finally be safe once they meet the Ice Shield Palace people. But the Yukiana isn't letting her prey go and closes the distance instantly. Our heroine is baffled as to why this monster is ignoring everyone else to hunt her. Suddenly, the little water spirit on her shoulder starts glowing like a beacon. I see you're a spy sending her our signal, aren't you? She yells. Scorpy isn't happy about the betrayal and lets out a thunderous growl. Our girl grabs a 5-leaf clover, realizing it's their only chance for a getaway. Scorpy lets out a piercing screech as he prepares to use the item. He slams the clover down with everything he's got to create a distraction. A massive massive explosion rocks the canyon as energy erupts in a blinding flash. The Yukiana is completely caught off guard by the thick clouds of smoke. She looks around in confusion as her target disappears into the gray haze. Thick smoke fills the entire area, providing the perfect cover for an escape. Our girl is impressed by Scorpy's quick thinking to use the clover as a smoke bomb. They dive into a nearby cave, hoping to lose their pursuer for good. Now that they have a moment of peace, our girl looks ready for war. Let's go into the soul pet realm for now, our girl commands. They land on a sunny beach, a far cry from the freezing canyon outside. Little fox, hurry up and get me a new set of clothes, she demands. She wastes no time throwing the water spirit into a tiny jail cell. Keep a close eye on this water spirit for me, you two, she snaps. Our girl promises to personally interrogate the little backstabber once the operation is over. After a quick cry and a wardrobe change, our girl is back in her gear. She steps out of the shadows, looking refreshed and ready to face the world again. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the Yukiana is still searching the foggy cliffs. A heavy stomp echoes through the canyons, signaling the arrival of a new player. Even the powerful soul beast looks stunned as a dark figure emerges. I've kept you waiting, Yukiana, Hideaki from the Grey Watchtower declares. Reports flood in that the Yukiana has officially entered the Valley of Wind. Our green-haired girl isn't impressed by the slow reporting. She can already feel a massive holy tier soul power nearby. Her subordinates wonder if it's the sorrowful Saintess making a move. No, it's that monster Hideaki from the Grey Watchtower, she explains. They can't let the Yukiana fall into the hands of such a dangerous master. She tells her crew to stay put while she handles this mess. Our girl's rival dashes off to claim the prize for herself. Meanwhile, the Yukiana faces off against the wielder of the Swallow God. Hideaki prepares to swing her massive ink-stained brush. Cut, she screams, unleashing a devastating wave of dark energy. The Yukiana counters with her chilling snow coffin technique. She unleashes the monarch of snow's hair to freeze everything in sight. Her icy gaze is enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. A blinding beam of light tears through the snowy battlefield. Hideaki barely manages to summon a shield in time. A massive explosion rocks the entire valley, shattering the earth. Hideaki is shocked that a spirit could withstand her power. Deep inside the tunnels, our poor heroine is wandering around lost. She hears the noise and thinks about swooping in for a kill steal. Suddenly, the entire cave ceiling begins to crumble over her head. Ouch, why did the cave collapse? She screams in panic. Outside, the two powerhouses continue their relentless, earth-shaking duel. Our girl realizes she's about to be buried alive if she doesn't move. She makes a desperate run for it as the walls close in. With a final leap, she bursts out of the collapsing tunnel. She lands right in the middle of the most dangerous fight ever. She tries to look cool, but she's actually sweating bullets. Hideaki spots her teardrop moles and freezes in total shock. Are you the sorrowful Saintess? The warrior demands with wide eyes. Hideaki looks like she's seen a ghost as she stares her down. Our girl realizes she's sandwiched between monsters and panics internally. You must be here for the Yukiana as well, Hideaki growls. Surprisingly, the icy Yukiana stands behind her like a protective guardian. Do not underestimate me, Hideaki screams, swinging her brush again. The Yukiana raises a hand to shield our girl from the impact. Our heroine closes her eyes, praying her life isn't over just yet. A massive shockwave hits, but she feels absolutely no pain. She's shocked to find she only lost a few strands of hair. Did they both miss on purpose? She wonders, looking totally confused. Then it clicks, the Yukiana was actually protecting her this whole time. Hideaki grits her teeth, convinced our girl is a secret master. Heavy footsteps echo as a new player enters the arena. The wrathful Saintess arrives, stunned that the Swallowed God actually failed. Luo Cuxin is busy throwing hands and bridal proposals mid-fight. She dives into close combat like a woman possessed. The assassin tries a Swallowed God cut, but our girl just smirks. She delivers a brutal kick while Gong Lianyu watches from the sidelines. Lianyu is paralyzed, worried her water spirit might actually switch sides. Luo Cuxin starts overthinking, wondering if her friend actually hates her now. Naturally, the crazy girl finds being despised totally hot. The assassin finally lands a pierce attack that sends blood flying. It looks like a fatal blow, but Luo Cuxin just laughs. I'll give that attack 60 points, she taunts with a grin. Lianyu is shook when the wound heals in a literal heartbeat. The assassin realizes the Saintesses aren't coordinated and keeps the pressure up. She launches another assault to take the wrathful Saintess down first. Lianyu finally snaps and calls out for her little fox. A massive surge of energy suddenly flows through her entire body. Deep in the soul pet realm, the atmosphere turns electric. A beam of light strikes the cages of the trapped spirits. Even the grumpy crab spirit can feel the power shifting. Little fox signals that the water spirit is trying to reach out. Suddenly, the giant Yukiana begins pulling on her frozen threads. Lianyu realizes the massive spirit is finally making its move. A terrifying blast of ice energy sweeps across the terrain. It's aimed directly at the spot where Luo Cuxin is standing. Luo Cuxin, dodge it, Lianyu screams in a total panic. The assassin tries to deploy a Swallow God shield to survive. A massive explosion rocks the canyon, leaving nothing but dust. Lianyu screams her friend's name, fearing the worst has happened. Suddenly, a giant white hand reaches out and grabs her. Why are you grabbing me? She cries out, totally confused. The Yukiana is literally kidnapping our girl and flying away. Little Fox is left behind on the ground, yipping in distress. The giant spirit uses the monarch of snow Snow's hair to shield her. The blaze fox lets out a terrifying roar as it lunges toward its prey. Our girl is stunned by the sheer amount of power radiating from the beast. The Saintess of the Sea Concubine Palace wields this much power, she gasps. Suddenly, a hand wraps around her throat from the darkness behind. It's the wrathful Saintess, and she's somehow revived after being cut to pieces. She tosses our girl aside like trash, declaring one enemy is finally dealt with. With a twisted smile, she prepares to watch the real fight begin. The blaze fox unleashes a massive explosion of illusory flames. Yukiana and Gong Lianyu are pinned back by the scorching spiritual heat. The Yukiana is terrified to use her secret treasure, the monarch of Snow's hair. If those delicate strands catch fire, her suffering will be immeasurable. Desperate, Yukiana decides she has no choice but to use her last resort. A wave of soul power erupts, freezing Gong Lianyu solid in an instant. Even the surrounding soul beasts are caught in the blast and turned to ice. Gong Lianyu drifts through a pitch-black abyss, wondering if she's finally frozen to death. A blinding light appears in the distance, cutting through the dark, endless void. She reaches out toward the glow, sensing a strangely familiar feeling. Back in reality, the fox is absolutely livid and lets out a deafening roar. Yukiana is horrified to see the beast is completely unaffected by her ice. Why is this fox not affected at all? She wonders, staring into its eyes. Driven by instinct, she finally unleashes the power of the monarch of Snow's hair. The glowing strands crack against the fox's hide with incredible magical force. It takes the hit directly, but the massive beast doesn't even flinch. It glares back at her with a look that promises pure, unadulterated destruction. A fear she has never felt since birth begins to consume her. The fox grabs her, invoking the terrifying power of the abysmal seas. Even surrounded by fire, Yukiana feels like she's drowning miles underwater. The monster's sheer presence is enough to shatter her pride and her resolve. Scram, the beast bellows, its voice shaking the very foundations of the cave. A massive claw swings through the air, ending the confrontation in one strike. Yukiana is sent spiraling away as the flames roar higher around them. She looks back at our poor heroine, trapped within the fiery inferno. Next time I will definitely save you, she promises through her tears. Suddenly, someone screams for the little fox as the heavy smoke clears. A massive explosion rocks the area, leaving nothing but dust and debris behind. Our poor little pet is lying in the dirt, covered in deep gashes. Why did you act so recklessly? Gong Lianyu cries, rushing to its side. She begs the creature to return to the soul pet realm to heal. The little fox lets out one final weak whimper before closing its eyes. Luo Kuxin realizes the Yukiana managed to escape thanks to a clever distraction. She crosses her arms, realizing their entire plan was a total bust. The body they were chasing turns out to be nothing but a pile of ink. An ink clone, she mutters, looking at the puddle on the floor. It seems the enemy used a tunnel to make a quick getaway. Luo Kuxin sighs, complaining about what an unproductive day it's been. But then she notices our poor heroine is absolutely devastated. Luo Kuxin stops her complaining to see what's wrong with her friend. Yo-Yu, what's the matter? She asks, concerned by the sudden tears. Yo-Yu is cradling her small soul pet in her arms. The poor little creature is covered in wounds and isn't moving. Little fox, he's died, Yo-Yu sobs through her tears. Yo-Yu explains that when she was frozen, her pet lost all its vitality. To save her, the brave little fox sacrificed itself. The spirit contract has been completely severed. It took every single hit from the Yukiana just to keep her safe. It refused to give up, even as its body was being destroyed. Yo-Yu clutches the body, wishing she could bring him back. Luo Kuxin watches the heartbreaking scene from the side. Can't you just form the contract again? She suggests. Yo-Yu shakes her head, saying its soul power is completely depleted. Luo Kuxin looks down, her expression becoming very strange. Suddenly, her face turns pale and she starts to gag. Without warning, she lets out a massive blurg right on the ground. Out of the mess, a weird green grass creature pops up. Yo-Yu is completely baffled by what she's seeing. Why did you come out? Get back here, Luo Kuxin screams. But the green sprout ignores her and launches itself into the air. Yo-Yu panics as the slimy thing flies toward her. It dives straight into the mouth of the dead fox. Luo Kuxin groans, it actually squirmed its way inside. What the hell is your soul pet trying to do? Yo-Yu demands. But then her eyes go wide with total shock. Steam begins to rise from the fox's body as it starts to sizzle. The wounds on the little creature begin to heal right before her eyes. The fox slowly opens its eyes, looking very confused. It's a miracle the little guy is actually back from the dead. Yo-Yu screams with joy and pulls her pet into a tight hug. The fox just blinks, wondering why its owner is crying so much. Don't you ever be that reckless again, she scolds him. But the fox's face suddenly turns a sickly shade of green. He lets out a loud burp and vomits the green sprout back out. The little green guy looks perfectly fine after his trip inside. Luo Kuxin watches the gross display with pure disgust. The sprout actually seems to be blushing from the experience. It leaps through the air, heading straight for its master. Don't you just squirm back into my mouth, Luo Kuxin yells. But it's too late, the creature dives right at her face. Our poor heroine and her pet watch the chaotic scene in silence. Yo-Yu sighs, I really can't understand the world of a masochist. Our girl floats in the air as the contract finally reforms. Contract successfully reformed, the system confirms as the bright light fades. Our heroine grips her chest and warns her pet to never cancel it again. The little guy yips in agreement, looking totally exhausted from the ordeal. He rubs his head before showing off his brand new trick. With a puff of smoke, he transforms back into his majestic fox form. Suddenly, Suddenly, a tiny green leaf bug starts chirping with hearts in its eyes. Luo Kuxin panics, telling the little pest to stop making weird noises in her ear. Is that little green bug actually your soul pet? Our girl asks, looking confused. Luo Kuxin explains it's a holy tier healing pet called Faint Heart Lotus. She rolls her eyes and claims our girl's fox is way crazier than her bug. The little fox just tilts its head, wondering what the fuss is about. Our girl notices strange markings appearing on the fox's forehead. A system notification reveals a new skill called God's Will has been unlocked. This explains how the little guy emulated such powerful fire-type energy earlier. The green lotus bug starts chirping even harder, practically vibrating with love. Luo Kuxin sighs, realizing her bug has a massive crush on the little fox. Our girl smiles and thanks the little leaf for saving her companion's life. A light bulb goes off as our heroine comes up with a hilarious plan. The fox looks suspicious, but it's already too late for him. The green bug chirps with joy, ready to claim its prize. It pounces on the fox, wrapping him up in a very sticky embrace. Looks like we're going to become in-laws, Luo Kuxin jokes, holding back a laugh. Our girl can only apologize to her pet for the sudden romantic trouble. The mood shifts as the girls prepare for their next dangerous move. Luo Kuxin asks if they really intend to keep chasing the elusive Yukiana. Our girl knows a retreat would be a total disaster for the Sea Alliance. She seems to have a deep connection with me, our heroine whispers to herself. With the fox and the lotus combined, their power has reached a new level. Our girl's eyes glow with a fierce and cold determination. Luo Kuxin, prepare yourself, she commands, her voice full of authority. She'll lure out the Yukiana the moment the sun starts to rise. The wind howls through the desolate mountains as something stirs beneath the heavy rubble. Suddenly, the earth begins to crack under the weight of an immense hidden pressure. A hand smashes through the stone, signaling our girl's desperate return to the surface. She rises from the debris, her body battered but her spirit remaining completely unbroken. Exhausted, she struggles to catch her breath while the dust finally settles around her. I actually had to retreat, she hisses, her pride clearly stung by the defeat. She needs to regroup, but the Yukiana's chilling aura hasn't vanished from the area. Looking down at her weapon, she feels the crushing weight of her recent failure. I'm sorry, Swallow God, I dragged you down, she whispers to her giant brush. Her face is marked by the brutal battle, a grim reminder of her difficult struggle. Suddenly, an invisible force grabs her weapon, stopping her dead in her tracks. Who are you? Why are you attacking me? She demands, her eyes flashing with anger. High above on the cliffs, a mysterious figure watches her every move with cold eyes. It's Bai Ningying, a powerful soul master hailing from the prestigious Sea Concubine Palace. Our heroine glares up, wondering if this newcomer is just another deadly assassin. But Bai Ningying just gives her a cold, indifferent look from the high cliffs. I was just passing by, she claims, though her presence feels anything but accidental. Meanwhile, as the sun begins to set, the tension in the air thickens significantly. Another girl, Yu, prepares for a final stand as the clock rapidly runs out. She calls upon a water spirit, her very last hope for survival today. A massive flash of light erupts, blinding everyone currently standing in the vicinity. Yu turns to her friend, Luo Kuxin, checking on their vital final preparations. But Luo Kuxin is completely spent, slumped helplessly against a cold, hard rock. Even her small spirit companion looks like it has seen much better days. The poor girl is running on fumes, her energy reserves now totally depleted. Yu panics, knowing the Yukiana will be upon them at any given second. She can't understand how their enemy keeps regenerating without even having an original body. Can't you have it delivered faster? She cries out in a moment of desperation. Luo Kuxin can only offer a weak apology as her consciousness begins to fade. Yu senses a terrifying presence approaching them from the deep, dark shadows. Good, Luo Kuxin whispers, giving her friend one last bit of encouragement. She looks like she's about to collapse right then and there on the spot. Finally, her strength gives out and she falls into a very deep sleep. Yu steels herself, refusing to back down even when things look incredibly grim. A massive guardian appears behind her, promising to save her from the encroaching darkness. A powerful seal ignites, pulsing with an ancient and incredibly deadly energy. The black-haired girl screams, swinging her massive brush with all her remaining might. A surge of blue power explodes outward, tearing through the entire battlefield. But she's suddenly ensnared by glowing lines of spirit energy that trap her tight. A violent blast rocks the ground, sending massive clouds of dust into the air. Our heroine stands amidst the smoke, her clothes torn and her body heavily wounded. Bai Ningying warns that a rampaging holy tier beast is far more dangerous than imagined. The white-haired girl unleashes a barrage of magical beams at her opponent. Our black-haired girl desperately tries to block the incoming fire with her massive brush. An opening, the white-haired girl cries, preparing her next high-level combat skill. A flurry of light slashes catches our girl off guard, tearing through her defenses. She groans in pain, realizing her opponent's speed is on a completely different level. Don't blame me when I use my holy tier pressure, she snarls through gritted teeth. She pours everything into her weapon, begging the Swallow God to take over. A massive dark wave erupts, attempting to swallow the entire battlefield in shadow. But the white-haired girl just smirks, amping up her frost sun mirror power. Sun pillar, she shouts, summoning a titanic beam of light from the sky. The holy light pierces through the darkness, crushing everything in its path. Our girl can't believe her eyes as the sheer power overwhelms her defense. She winces as her shield begins to shatter under the intense magical weight. A massive explosion rocks the terrain, sending debris flying in every direction. explosion. Thick smoke fills the air as the dust finally starts to settle. Our poor girl emerges from the wreckage, looking absolutely battered and broken. She coughs violently, struggling just to stay on her feet after that hit. She looks around frantically, wondering if the palace girls survived the blast. Suddenly, she senses a familiar aura reappearing through the haze of the battlefield. It's the Yukiana's presence, and it's stronger than it ever was before. The white-haired girl reaches out to a tiny glowing blue spirit. Our blue-haired heroine watches in shock, realizing they've come too far to fail. The mysterious woman gently touches the spirit, her expression unreadable and cold. A bright spark ignites between them as a new pact is formed. Your race has nothing to do with me, the white-haired woman states coldly. A massive fire fox looms behind her, its flames roaring with intense heat. She gives our girl a final choice: sign a contract or leave forever. The woman stares her down, her eyes glowing with a terrifying ancient power. She closes her eyes for a moment, sighing at the inevitable conflict ahead. She floats high above the ground, radiating an aura of absolute authority. 10 strands of hair, the blue-haired girl gasps, realizing the true scale of power. She can't believe there was more than one strand of the monarch's hair. Embroidered soul frozen cross, the woman commands, striking the giant beast. Our heroine watches in terror as the world begins to crack apart. Our girl is running for her life, gasping as she heads for the palace. Suddenly, she realizes her pursuer has caught up with her in an instant. The Yukiana looms over her, looking absolutely terrifying and ready to strike. Before she can react, a wave of pain surges through her body. "ARGH," she screams, her world turning into a blur of agony. She's furious that this monster is actually attacking her without holding back. "Eep," she squeaks, barely avoiding another deadly blow from the spirit. The spirit stands tall, ignoring our heroine's pleas while facing the water spirit. Our girl realizes that as a heavy soul body, she can survive this. The spirit mumbles about her race, her eyes cold and devoid of mercy. With a sharp pierce, the spirit claims the core to save her kind. Everything goes dark as our poor heroine is completely knocked out. The stolen crystal core glows in the spirit's hand, humming with power. Meanwhile, our girl finds herself floating in a mysterious, starry void. Her eyes flutter open, glowing with a strange, otherworldly light. She wanders through a path lined with vibrant, floating soul lanterns. "Who am I?" she whispers, her memories feeling like sand slipping away. She suddenly remembers her purpose. She's a soul master picking a skill. She looks at the blue lantern, which offers the power of blazing ice. Next is a red lantern, promising a fan of flowing fire. She keeps walking, searching for something that feels right in her soul. She eventually finds herself standing before a skeletal figure on a throne. "So powerful, but I don't think they're what I want," she sighs. She turns her back on the throne and heads toward a massive gate. The gate towers over her, radiating a chill that would freeze anyone solid. "No, this isn't what I want either," she says with determination. She looks up at the massive structure, sensing a power beyond common skills. A mysterious pink crystal floats high above the barren desert sands. Our girl is absolutely fuming because that Yukiana destroyed almost all her clones. Suddenly, a massive wave of energy sweeps across the battlefield with a deafening swoosh. She freezes in her tracks, sensing a power that feels completely alien. A blinding beam of pink light descends from the heavens like a divine judgment. Behind the crystal, a dark, menacing silhouette begins to take shape. Our girl can't believe her eyes as she realizes Yoyu is hiding another holy tier beast. A terrifying purple hand with a literal eyeball in its palm reaches out. The white-haired spirit admits she can't win against this monstrous new presence. A massive impact sends shockwaves through the air as the gravity of the situation shifts. "What is this?" she gasps, staring at the colossal dark orb looming over them. This is the Death Calamity, a force capable of wiping out everything in its path. Our girl panics, realizing they've been trapped inside a literal dying star. The white-haired spirit stands alone in the void, surrounded by nothing but shadows. She unleashes a flurry of slashes, trying to tear her way out of the darkness. Suddenly, the purple demon girl appears right behind her like a ghost. The spirit spins around, desperately calling out her embroidered soul technique. She launches her one-lined horizon attack with every bit of strength she has left. But the demon girl simply grabs the energy thread with her massive clawed hand. A violent explosion of rock and dust signals the end of their brief exchange. Our spirit girl glares back, refusing to let her guard down for even a second. "Save me," a voice pleads as a glowing figure reaches for the floating crystal. Our girl scoops up the tiny blue spirit and holds her close. The little one leans in for a sweet, unexpected kiss on the cheek. But there's no time for romance because they're officially kidnapping the Water Emperor. Nearby, another warrior stands alone, realizing the situation is getting way too dangerous. Suddenly, a pathetic little green head pops out from the rubble with a chirp. "What bad luck," the clone grumbles, realizing only his head is left intact. He watches in disbelief as the mysterious woman sprints away with his target. "Is that the Water Emperor?" he wonders as the girl flees the scene. The clone realizes they've been tricked by a fake aura this entire time. He can't believe he missed the obvious disguise right under his nose. High above, a dark, masked entity watches the chaos with cold, glowing eyes. She remains silent, observing the power of the woman fleeing below. Our girl unleashes a devastating move called Embroidered Soul to break free. She groans, forcing her power against the cracking barrier until it snaps. With a deafening crash, the entire barrier shatters into a million pieces. A massive explosion of purple energy lights up the dark sky. A massive explosion rocks the desert as purple energy tears through the sky. This purple-skinned menace isn't holding back, firing off orbs of pure destruction. precision. The ground is basically a target range for her magical artillery. Our girl in black is caught in the crossfire, wondering how she was even discovered. A giant orb slams into the sand with a deafening thud. She barely manages to stay upright, dwarfed by the scale of the wreckage. A massive impact shakes the very air, signaling the arrival of something dangerous. Hiding behind a pillar, she wonders if she'll actually make it out alive. High above, a mysterious white sphere begins to sizzle and crack open. Our white-haired heroine finally makes her grand entrance, looking like a total boss. But she's not alone, as her little spirit friend is trapped in a crystal. Release her right now, our girl screams, her eyes burning with pure rage. She lunges forward, slamming her power against the impenetrable barrier. The little spirit inside looks surprisingly calm despite the chaos unfolding around her. The two powerhouses face off in the sky, ready to tear the world apart. The spirit reaches for her crown, her expression unreadable and cold. Cracks begin to spiderweb across the crystal as the pressure reaches a breaking point. The little spirit holds up 3 fingers, counting down the end of this farce. The purple-skinned villainess starts to sweat, realizing she's in over her head. She lunges forward to grab her prize just as the crystal cage shatters. The impact is brutal, causing the poor spirit to spit out a mouthful of blood. No matter how hard she struggles, the villainess's grip is like a vice. Dark energy begins to sizzle against her skin, burning through her remaining strength. A chilling warning appears, the spirit's soul power is depleting and she's dying. Her body begins to fragment, turning into nothing more than fading light. Our heroine can only watch in horror, realizing she might be too late. Shards of reality explode as the blue-haired girl unleashes a surge of power. Blinding lines of energy wrap around her body as she fights for control. Her entire form begins to glow with a haunting, ethereal white light. She hangs her head and sighs, it failed again, her voice breaking. The majestic Yukiana stands behind her, watching the failure with cold eyes. Our girl reaches up and carefully places the crown on the spirit. The spirit accepts the gift, looking like a true queen of the ice. Suddenly, a dark, volcanic sphere begins to crack from the internal pressure. The rocky shell shatters completely, sending debris flying in every single direction. The Yukiana floats high above the clouds, observing the world below her. She realizes the truth and whispers, "She is not of my race." The spirit admits she likes the girl but knows they cannot be together. She feels a deep sense of guilt for almost taking a human life. The icy queen looks down, her heart heavy with an unspoken sorrow. Watching from the shadows, the green-haired girl wonders what is happening. A massive ring of freezing energy erupts across the desert floor below. The barren landscape offers no protection from the spirit's overwhelming, icy power. The witness trembles, gasping out, "What is this terrifyingly cold aura?" Blades of pure frost slice through the air with lethal, pinpoint precision. The ground itself shatters as the intense cold destroys everything it touches. The Yukiana stares down at her target, her expression filled with regret. She reaches out to touch the girl, her hand glowing with power. The spirit pets watch the scene, unable to understand the sudden departure. The little white fox lets out a soft, confused yip at them. The spirit sighs, wondering if there truly are no spots left. The scorpion pet can only stare back in a stunned, silent daze. She rests her hand on our heroine's shoulder for one final moment. "Hopefully fate will bring us together again," she says before vanishing. Our girl wakes up in a rocky wasteland, feeling like a truck hit her. She groans in pain, wondering why her soul power is completely drained. As she sits up, she realizes her head is absolutely pounding. Suddenly, she notices a glowing crystal clutched tightly in her hand. Why would the Yukiana's life core appear on me? She wonders. She has no idea what happened after she blacked out. A vision of a massive, divine hand flashes through her mind. She remembers a giant ice limb obliterating every enemy in sight. Our heroine decides to hide the crystal and investigate her cheats later. She prepares to leave now that the main target is gone, but she stops dead in her tracks when she spots a body. Backup from the Sea Concubine Palace arrives to escort her home. The onlookers are stunned to see her standing over a fallen enemy. Her new fan club starts screaming that she's the coolest. Our girl just sweats, having no idea who actually defeated the boss. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the cold halls of Ice Shield Palace. A high-ranking official asks if the mission was a total failure. The Lady Ice Empress looks down, unimpressed by the lack of results. Her subordinate explains that the valley was crawling with too many monsters. They might have missed the target, but they gathered some juicy intel. A scout reports that 7 holy tier beasts were spotted during the chaos. This shocks the Empress, as only 3 were supposed to be there. That means 4 unknown powerhouses were lurking in the shadows. The Empress demands to know if they identified the Saintess's soul pets. The girl admits the creature was unlike anything she's ever seen. The Empress wonders if they're dealing with the legendary Ice Frost Star. She shifts her focus to the desireless Saintess, hoping to move. But her subordinate warns her that the situation is getting troublesome. They need a rare ice soulstone to lure their target out. Apparently, this Saintess has sharp senses and can see through any deception. The girl vows to secure a rank 7 soul pet or lose status. We flash back 3 years to a treacherous climb up a frozen peak. Our girl screams for her comrade to grab her hand before it's too late. But the branch snaps, sending her friend falling into the snowy abyss. Number 4 can only watch in terror as she plummets toward certain death. The survivors collapse on the ridge, mourning the friends they've already lost. The weight of their sacrifice hangs heavy as they stare into the cold. Tears fill our girl's eyes as the brutal journey finally reaches its end. There it is, the legendary 7-foot sword maiden flower blooming in the frost. Back in the present, a heavy rain falls over the winter floating sky. Zubayhan, the desireless Saintess, watches the storm from her lonely wheelchair. Our girl sits in deep meditation, focusing her energy into her main body. She has spent years preparing for this moment, leaving absolutely nothing to chance. She manipulated the other Saintesses by leaking intel on various holy tier beasts. Her master plan required a massive army just to capture a single flower. A legion of warriors marches across the plains, ready to seize their destiny. 3 years of blood and sweat have finally led to this one moment. She orders the charge, commanding her forces to capture the sacred soul beast. Deep beneath the waves, we enter the high-security jail of the Frost Shark. Guards nervously escort a prisoner they claim is a terrifying holy tier master. The sorrowful Saintess radiates a power that makes killing them look like child's play. They lock her behind bars, desperate to keep her monsters under control. The guards finally breathe a sigh of relief once the cell door shuts. They mockingly thank her for her hard work before leaving her in darkness. Behind the bars, the Saintess stares out with eyes that hold no mercy. A voice asks if she's afraid her secret trump card will be exposed. The Saintess coldly dismisses the threat, calling her hidden power a trivial matter. The other girl is shocked that such a massive secret means so little. Our Saintess wonders why everyone is making such a big deal over her soul. She possesses 3 holy tier soul pets that could wipe out entire kingdoms alone. The prisoner realizes she's just a pawn used to cover a deeper terror. She trembles, knowing the sorrowful Saintess is far more dangerous than anyone suspected. News of this capture hits the sea realm like a massive atomic bomb. At the higher-up forum, leaders argue that the Saintess election is now pointless. They believe no one alive can defeat the overwhelming might of Gong Lianyu. The council tries to refocus the room on the massive ransom for Hideaki. The leader sighs, exhausted by the endless political games her peers are playing. This tradition has become a farce, fueled by schemes and impossible peaks. Our girl stares at Riwa, who has suddenly ballooned into a massive size. Did you actually level up to mid-tier? She asks in total disbelief. It didn't happen when she ate the soul stone, so why level up now? She decides to put a pin in the spirit mystery for a bit. Right now, she needs to talk to her teacher about the ransom. She heads up to Lunar Sea Peak to get some real answers. She finds her teacher buried in paperwork and asks if it's settled. Take a look for yourself, teacher says, handing over a finalized list. The ransom is insane, including 1,000,000 crystals and rare beast eggs. Teacher beams at her, praising her for a job well done. The higher-ups are rewarding you with 20% of the ransom, she announces. Our girl isn't impressed, complaining that the cut is way too small. Teacher sighs and offers her a high-stakes escort mission for extra points. She has to take the convict Hideaki back to the Storm Realm. Our girl is torn between the massive points and her own survival. Teacher sees her worried face and completely misreads the entire room. She assumes our girl is dying to join the Saintess election finals. Why are you crying and what finals are you talking about? She screams. The finals are a live-streamed duel for the top medallion earners. The higher-ups use the escort mission to force her to withdraw. Our girl secretly thanks them, knowing she'd be exposed as a fraud. But teacher is fuming, calling the higher-ups greedy for hiding her talent. I'm going to the forum to force them to let you play, teacher yells. She charges out of the room like a woman on a mission. Our girl panics, screaming that she actually wants to do the escort. I've never been out of the sea realm and I need to explore, she lies. Teacher stops, calling her a silly child for not speaking up sooner. Before she leaves, teacher mentions a celebration in the storm realm. It's a festival for the birthday of the ruler of the storm. Our girl is skeptical, thinking the ruler of the storm is just a myth. She argues that these legendary tier creatures can't possibly exist in reality. But teacher's face goes dark, insisting the ruler of the storm is real. Literature and soul power analyses prove these beings are out there. The ruler of snow most likely exists too, she adds solemnly. Teacher warns her to be respectful when she ventures into their realm. One mistake could reduce the entire palace to absolute nothingness. Our girl shudders, feeling like she just triggered a massive red flag. Teacher just smiles and tells her to pay her respects. Our girl sighs, deciding to worry about the apocalypse when it actually happens. Our girl wakes up and realizes her body is changing way too fast. She lists her symptoms like a medical checklist, worried about her sudden growth. Is this some kind of endocrine disorder? She screams in total panic. She's convinced she needs a specialist before her youth completely slips away. But there's no time for a doctor when the soul realm calls. She's stuck in a solo trial and honestly, she's just totally over it. She demands her fox spirit whip up some clothes so she isn't naked. Her soul pet Scorpy isn't waiting around and gets straight to work. It unleashes a barrage of strikes that would make any anime hero proud. Against all odds, she clears the stage in record-breaking time. Maybe I really am a genius, she muses, feeling herself just a little bit. Her reward is a mysterious empty moonstone that looks like a plain rock. Still, she can feel a strange, calming power radiating from the gem. Back at home, she takes a moment to relax and evaluate her loot. She hits the books to see if this treasure is actually worth anything. The description makes it sound like total junk and she is not amused. Suddenly, she looks at the moon and realizes there's a hidden connection. She wonders if this stone is the key to deciphering a lost scroll. Outside, the giant moon is literally covered in ancient glowing text. She holds the stone up, watching as it reacts to the moonlight. The symbols on the moon start to glow with an eerie pulse. She stares out the window, hoping to unlock the secrets of the sky. If only trial winners get this, it must be special, she thinks. Her spirit companion Ryua pops up, but our girl isn't feeling the love. You aren't even cute anymore now that forget you're this big, she complains. But since the pet leveled up, it's time to pick a new skill. She scans the options, looking for something that makes her life easier. She settles on a dimensional storage skill to hide all her secret treasures. Ryua happily confirms the choice, ready to serve as a living backpack. Our girl tells the spirit to hurry up and open the storage. Ryua obliges, opening a dark portal that looks a little bit sketchy. This is perfect for stuffing all my babies inside, she laughs mischievously. Suddenly, a purple flame erupts, signaling an incoming message from a friend. It turns out Crybaby sent her a video message from the outside world. She hits receive, curious to see what kind of drama is brewing. The news is huge. The Saintess election is finally reaching its peak. Our girl has no plans to join, but she's always down for drama. The arena is pure chaos as high-tier soul pets clash in the sky. Massive explosions rock the stadium, sending the crowd into a total frenzy. Our girl just sips her drink, totally relating to the angry fans. Amidst the smoke, a mysterious new challenger steps onto the battlefield. Our girl leans in, wondering who this elite spectator from the cold court is. Rui stares at the ice elf, never expecting such a flashy entrance. I'll force them to reveal their true forms, she yells. Our girl is sweating buckets, wondering what the hell is happening. She's convinced the water spirit just puked out a swallowed pet. Rui strikes back immediately, calling for a sea-splitting slice. The massive water attack surges forward, ready to crush everything. But a giant ice pillar blocks the strike with absolute ease. The recoil is brutal, slamming Rui face first into the dirt. Is it over before I even see their true faces? She gasps. Flashback to a few days ago at a frantic research station. The professor is obsessed with analyzing the remains of a holy tier battle. We're out of power, we have to get out of here. But the old woman refuses to abandon her life savings. The ceiling begins to crumble as the entire structure collapses. A giant rock falls toward the professor, certain to crush her. Rui steps in, incinerating the debris with a scorching flow. We're leaving right now, Professor, she shouts through the smoke. The old woman watches her entire fortune go to waste. She warns Rui that researching legends will only isolate her. But Rui reveals her sister is dying from fire poison syndrome. The poor girl periodically self-combusts in a cycle of agony. She's currently sealed in an ice coffin with 3 years left. You're hunting a legendary tier to save your sister. The professor tells her to find the sorrowful Saintess instead. Only a legendary ice power can neutralize that deadly fire. The secret to the monarch of snow lies within Lion Yu's body. Rui vows to uncover the truth behind the Saintess's soul pets. Back in the arena, Rui crawls across the floor in pain. Soul art, she screams, her eyes burning with newfound determination. A massive fire dragon erupts, shocking everyone in the audience. A massive fire bird looms over the battlefield, ready to incinerate everything in its path. The ice elf doesn't flinch, her cold eyes glowing as she activates her frozen binds. Suddenly, a massive purple sphere of ice erupts, swallowing the entire stage. The audience can only watch in horror as the dome grows to impossible heights. Within seconds, the entire arena is buried under a mountain of jagged, glowing frost. Shui King, who stares at the carnage, realizing this ice dome hides Yogyu's true capabilities. I never noticed how dangerous she was while we were playing, she shudders. She looks at the frozen wasteland, wondering if her friend has reached a godly level. She begs Yoyu to stop before she accidentally kills the other contestants. But the masked girl looks up, her voice cold and steady. I have something I need to announce, she says, leaving everyone in suspense. Meanwhile, our poor heroine Gong Lianyu is absolutely losing her mind in a panic. I can't control this monster at all, she screams internally, sweating buckets. She realizes if she doesn't come clean now, the whole world will hunt her. She imagines confessing to her teacher that she's actually a total useless fraud. In her nightmare, the Saintess turns on her for leeching off their resources. She sees herself tied to a stake, with the crowd screaming to burn the scammer. Back in reality, the fire bird clashes against the impenetrable wall of ice. The legendary holy tier soul beast, the Ice Frost Star, has finally been unleashed. A rival girl screams, demanding that Yoyu stop hiding her terrifying soul power. Tell me where he is, she shrieks, looking like she's about to snap. She demands to know the location of the monarch of snow immediately. The Ice Frost Star just stares back with haunting, empty blue eyes. Death Calamity, she whispers, summoning a void-like sphere from the heavens. The red-haired fighter collapses, completely overwhelmed by the crushing pressure. The massive orb descends, threatening to erase everything left on the field. A massive sphere of destructive energy looms over the arena like a falling moon. Our brown-haired girl watches in absolute terror as the end draws near. The blue-haired heroine is nearly crushed under the weight of the immense pressure. She's an ally of the sea realm, I can't kill her, the girl realizes. But our heroine isn't interested in mercy while the fight is still on. She summons a powerful wave of freezing energy to settle the score. Sleep and forget, she whispers, her voice carrying the weight of a goddess. The brown-haired girl is completely engulfed by the chilling blue light. Suddenly, the entire arena shatters with a crash that shakes the very foundation. Our girl collapses to her knees, gasping for breath as the dust settles. Why has my soul power been exhausted so suddenly? She asks herself. She stares at the ground, her body feeling heavier than lead. She looks around the wreckage, searching for any sign of her opponent. Out of the shadows, a monstrous purple arm reaches out from the white-haired girl. The massive hand snatches our heroine before she can even attempt to flee. Deep within the hidden room, the ancient water crystal begins to vibrate. Yukiana's crystal core is slowly being engulfed by a dark, sinister force. The massive purple spire standing above the stadium stadium begins to crumble and crack. It explodes into 1,000 pieces, sending jagged shards flying through the air. The debris rains down on the arena floor as the crowd ducks for cover. What just happened? Is it already over? The students scream in total shock. Our girl leans over, her chest heaving as she barely manages to stand. A few more seconds and I might have fainted from the strain, she pants. The purple hand continues to tease the tiny ice spirit as it retreats. The entire audience is left in a stunned, speechless silence after the carnage. They collectively shriek, their minds blown by the sudden turn of events. They can't believe the ice elf just vanished back into the water spirit. Our girl notices her soul beast panel has completely disappeared once again. High above, a masked woman prepares to cast a powerful transmission soul art. She calls for silence, her voice booming through the stadium with absolute authority. I shall be officially coronating the sorrowful Saintess right here, right now, she declares. The previous fighter is hauled away on a stretcher looking completely brain dead. Our girl watches as the nurses clear the arena after that brutal match. Suddenly, the masked teacher declares the start of the sorrowful Saintess's inheritance ceremony. Are you trying to marry me off? Our heroine screams in a total panic. The teacher ignores her and tells Yo-Yu to step into the water pillar. She claims the entire fate of the Sea Concubine Palace now rests on her. Our girl assumes this is just another boring tradition for the sake of appearances, but she finds herself standing before a massive, glowing pillar in a strange world. Is this a secret realm? She wonders, realizing the coronation is actually legitimate. She takes a hesitant step forward into the shimmering light of the unknown space. A giant monument known as the Sea Concubine Love Plaque towers over her. The scale of the legacy is far beyond anything she could have imagined. She whispers the name of the plaque, feeling the weight of the former Saintesses. As she reaches out, she prepares to leave her own mark on the legacy. Suddenly, the entire world around her begins to dissolve into blue energy clouds. She panics as the secret realm starts dissipating right before her very eyes. So this wasn't a real realm, it's just an illusion, she asks herself. The magical landscape continues to crumble away into nothingness as the trial ends. With a determined look, she officially declares the coronation complete in the name of sorrow. Nearby, an old woman watches from the shadows with a very suspicious expression. She's disappointed that Rui's power wasn't enough to force her to use full strength. Granny turns her back on the crowd and starts walking away in a hurry. But her legs are trembling violently, showing just how much she's actually struggling. She suddenly collapses to the floor, her body finally giving out from the strain. Granny glares ahead with glowing eyes, refusing to let anyone see her weakness. She slowly peels back her white glove to reveal a dark hidden secret. Her hand is covered in disgusting pink boils that look like a deadly curse. My time is running out, she mutters, knowing her end is closer than anyone thinks. Our girl steps into her new palace and her eyes practically turn into diamonds. It's so luxurious, she squeals while her attendant just smirks in the background. Then she hears about the adult room and her inner fangirl immediately takes over. The palace has these kinds of services, me likey, she thinks with a blush. The attendant tells her to enjoy the room to her heart's content before heading out. Left alone, our girl takes a moment to soak in the silence of her home. She spins around, declaring that even the air in this luxury unit tastes like success. Suddenly, a system window pops up to ruin the vibe with a soul-hell trial. Now of all times, come on, I'm busy right now, she yells at the screen. The system ignores her and starts matching players like it's some twisted mobile game. She realizes she only has seconds left and sprints toward that mysterious adult room. She throws the door open as a blinding light consumes the entire hallway. Her jaw drops as she finally sees what's hidden inside the secret chamber. But before she can enjoy it, the matching hits 20 out of 20. I've barely even seen the room yet, she screams as the world dissolves. She's dropped into a gloomy, storm-lashed nightmare known as the Dark Ages. Our poor heroine wakes up chained to a cold stone wall in a cell. She blinks in confusion, wondering where her luxury life went so fast. Reality hits her hard when she realizes this is the actual soul hell trial. She looks around and sees a dozen other girls trapped in the same boat. A sharp ringing sound echoes through the dungeon, making everyone jump in terror. The atmosphere turns icy as the girls stare at the dark corridor in silence. Keep it down, our girl whispers, sensing that the noise is a bad omen. One of the prisoners asks if anyone actually knows what the Dark Ages means. A girl with glasses speaks up, her voice trembling as she confirms the worst. She explains that humans were once treated like livestock by low-tier soul beasts. Our heroine listens with a sinking feeling, realizing the trial is going to be brutal. The glasses girl looks grim, warning them that their lives are just toys. The girls are trapped in a living nightmare they call the Dark Ages. A chilling ringing sound echoes through the bars, drawing closer every second. Our girl tells everyone to be quiet as the dread sets in. Suddenly, a massive shadow looms over the terrified captives as they tremble. A grotesque pigman stomps into view, clutching a blood-stained meat cleaver. This horror show feels like a twisted game come to life for our heroine. The monster snatches up a poor pink-haired girl without a second thought. In a flash of violence, the beast devours her right in front of them. It tosses the remains aside, grumbling that she wasn't even tasty. Now those glowing red eyes are locked onto our poor heroine. She can only watch in fear as the monster looms over her. You look very tasty, the beast growls, opening its massive, bloody maw. It lunges forward to take a lethal bite out of our girl. But instead of a scream, there's the sound of shattering bone. The pigman's teeth crack against her skin like they hit solid steel. Our girl realizes her ancient soul art of Iron Moon has activated. Since there are no soul masters in this era, the energy is overflowing. The beast lets out a pathetic squeal as it clutches its broken jaw. Our girl isn't playing around and gives the monster a deadly, freezing glare. She warns the beast that she'll turn it into minced meat next time. Terrified of her hidden power, the pigman turns tail and flees. Scram, she shouts, making sure the coward doesn't look back. The other prisoners can't believe their eyes as the monster runs away. They wonder who would bother learning soul arts in this day and age. One girl decides she's had enough and prepares her own secret technique. She focuses her internal energy, ignoring the pleas for help from the others. With a sudden burst of power, her wooden cuffs are blown apart. She cheers as her hands are finally free from the heavy restraints. The remaining captives beg for her to help them out as well. She ignores their cries and turns her back on the entire group. Without a word, she vanishes into the darkness of the corridor. The others are left baffled by the girl's cold-hearted and sudden exit. Another girl admits she has offensive arts but fears harming the group. Our girl encourages her to try, trusting in her hidden abilities. With a quick burst of blue energy, she shatters the rest of the cuffs. The group is finally free, but the nightmare is far from over. Our girl hopes they can survive at least the next 10 minutes. Suddenly, a girl with strange star markings on her face approaches her. She asks to team up, claiming she can be of great use. Our girl agrees, though she thinks this newcomer looks absolutely insane. The girl beams with joy, thankful to finally have a strong ally. But the celebration is cut short as the monsters return in force. The tough girl tells our heroine to step back because she's got this. She starts charging up a powerful soul art with a determined look. This massive, muscular pigman charges in like a total beast, but she hits him with a divine flower penetration that literally leaves a hole. Our girl is absolutely floored by how easily this mid-tier monster was deleted. She realizes she's finally safe and can breathe a sigh of relief. A notification pops up announcing that the 1-hour trial is finally complete. Our girl thinks it's time for adult time and gets hyped for something big. This shape, this size, she gasps, blushing like a total degenerate. It's actually just a memorial plaque, and she is absolutely fuming at the prank. Soon, the day arrives for our heroine to escort the mysterious Hideaki. Her teacher hands her a remote control to manage the prisoner's soul relic. This masked prisoner looks like she's ready to snap at any second. She starts complaining about her rights, but our girl isn't listening at all. The teacher explains that the remote delivers shocks to keep the prisoner in line. You can use level 3 at most, the teacher warns, fearing for the girl's sanity. Our girl gives a sweet smile and says she totally understands the rules. Then she immediately slams her thumb down on the level 5 button. The prisoner gets fried instantly while our girl watches with a very creepy expression. This is quite the toy, she cheers, asking for a second set. Even her teacher is weirded out by our girl's sudden, terrifying dark side. Before they set off, a woman named Kia steps forward to speak. She's the 5th seat of the Imperial Concubines and looks very elegant. Our heroine thinks this new lady seems way more reliable than her teacher. Kia leans in close to whisper a secret about the legendary Sunstinger. The Vice Lord told you about the Sunstinger, right? She asks. Our girl is clueless, having no idea what a Sunstinger even is. Legend says it's a storm ruler so massive it blocks the sun. It's a phenomenon so legendary that humans can't even see its face. Every year, the realm celebrates its birthday by banning all forms of war. Our girl realizes her teacher actually mentioned this festive event before. Apparently, their route was planned specifically so they could witness the phenomenon. But Kia warns that this entire trip is actually a massive death trap. Our poor heroine is left wondering what she's gotten herself into this time. If they don't hurry, the celebration will end and the entire realm will attack. Our girl is terrified of being hunted down by the entire storm realm. Her companion suggests taking the shortest path forward to avoid a massive confrontation. The mission is simple: get the prisoner to the destination before the big birthday celebration. Even if they find you, they can only watch as you live, her friend claims. Our heroine thinks it's a solid point, but she's still sweating bullets. The problem is this shortcut goes right through the Storm Realm's 2 largest forces. You need to end any fights instantly, Lady Saintess, the girl warns. Gong Lion Yu nods along, but she's internally screaming at the risk. She decides she'll just use a disguise and ninja her way past everyone. She gets handed a bag of vitality fruits to keep the prisoner alive. And here's something special from the White Lotus, the friend adds. It's a blazing soul grass, a high-level herb that boosts training speed. Our heroine stares at the fiery plant, feeling its intense power. It's supposed to help her reach abyssal-level strength much faster, but the effects are so potent that an average person would literally explode. Our girl doesn't care about training, she just sees a massive payday. Next, her friend explains the capture function of their latest soul relic. With one simple click, the prisoner is hit with a cloud of smoke. Suddenly, the captive is shrunk down and trapped inside a tiny pearl. Gong Lion Yu is blown away by how convenient modern soul arts have become. Wait, why did I need that shock gadget if if I had this, she wonders. The night sky is clear as they finally set off on their dangerous journey. Our girl feels the weight of the mission as she walks into the dark. Meanwhile, back at the palace infirmary, a girl finally opens her eyes. Professor, she groans, looking completely dazed and exhausted. Professor Dolly leans in, asking if she remembers anything from the brutal fight. The girl tries to think, but her mind is a total blank. Terrifying flashes of the battle haunt her, but the details won't stick. She clutches her head in pain, apologizing to the worried professor. Dolly realizes Gong Lianyu used a barbaric soul technique to block the girl's memories. We have no choice, we have to find that woman, the professor mutters. The two head out into the night to meet a very dangerous contact. They find their target standing alone on a bridge in the moonlight. It's Bai Ningying, the notorious queen of the black market. Dolly demands to know Gong Lianyu's travel route immediately. The professor offers up 800 gold, which is every cent she has. But the queen isn't interested in pocket change, she wants a trade. She demands top secret intel on the legendary monarch of snow. A dangerous deal is struck, and the secret map is finally handed over. Cut to the Sea Storm Inn, right on the border of the two realms. Gong Lianyu asks the cat waiter if they've officially crossed into enemy territory. She orders the most expensive room and the best food on the menu. The palace is paying for this business trip anyway, she thinks with a grin. She decides to check if her prisoner is still breathing inside her bag. But her face turns pale as she realizes the bag is completely empty. Flashback to a few hours ago at the local honey popsicle stand. Our girl checks her bag, hearing a tiny yip yip from inside. She asks the fox on her shoulder if it really hates Peach. I'll just take both then, she decides, walking away completely oblivious. A stray black cat spots the glowing soul relic and gets curious. The cat pounces, snatching the bubble prisoner right out of the bag. Put me down this instant, the tiny girl screams as the cats play. The bubble rolls away, tumbling down a very steep, grassy hill. Our poor prisoner realizes she is heading straight for a massive cliff. She lets out a scream as she flies into the open air. The soul relic falls like a rock toward the forest floor below. Meanwhile, an old woman and her companion are peacefully eating noodles. The professor pauses, sensing something coming from the sky above her. Splash, the bubble lands in the bowl, sending soup flying everywhere. The poor woman sits there, totally covered in noodles and broth. The prisoner looks up, realizing she's floating in a bowl of soup. Hideaki, the professor mutters, recognizing the tiny face inside. The prisoner is stunned that these random people actually know her name. I escaped with my own legendary strength, obviously, she boldly lies. She promises the Grey Watchtower will reward them if they free her. The assistant looks worried and asks the professor for their next move. The old woman goes silent, her eyes narrowing with a secret plan. I don't need money, just cooperate and I'll let you go. Back at the stand, the little fox companion lets out a sigh. Our girl finally notices the prisoner is gone and starts to panic. She imagines a mob calling her a fake and a total scammer. I should just pack my bags and never come back, she cries. By nightfall, she's in a room counting her very last coins. After pawning everything, she only has 300 bucks to survive. She realizes she has no skills for business or actual hard labor. Am I going to be a beggar for the rest of my life? Downstairs, the professor and her assistant wait patiently against the wall. They ask the cat-headed clerk if a blue-haired girl is staying there. Our girl has a sudden epiphany about her future career. She can use her soul power to mass-produce clothes and start a boutique. I won't have to worry about food even if I'm not a saintess, she cheers. Suddenly, a cat servant announces that some friends are waiting to meet her. Our girl is confused because she doesn't actually have any friends. An old woman in glasses steps into the room and calls her Lady Saintess. Our girl's heart drops as she wonders how this stranger knows her identity. Who are you? She demands, her voice trembling with suspicion. The woman claims to be a harmless scholar who wouldn't hurt a fly. Our girl isn't buying it for a second and remains on high alert. The scholar asks if a girl named Hideaki is currently in her hands. She starts rambling about a legendary power hidden deep within our heroine's body. Legendary power? Our girl asks, looking completely and utterly lost. The old lady screams at her to stop pretending because her performance exposed her. She offers to return Hideaki if our girl agrees to some tiny experiments. Meanwhile, the real Hideaki is being held captive and realizes the professor is lying. The captors tell her to shush while they gather data for their research. They rudely kick out any witnesses to keep their dirty work a secret. Back in the room, the atmosphere is thick enough to cut with a knife. Our girl decides to bluff and tells the lady to do whatever she wants. The scholar is absolutely stunned by this cold-hearted response. Our heroine is secretly planning to just sell clothes and forget this drama. But the old lady refuses to give up on her research so easily. She decides to go all in, even if it means using force. Suddenly, the scholar lunges forward and grabs our girl's arm. What are you doing? She screams, trying to pull away. The lady activates a forbidden soul art to peek directly into her spirit. Instead of a normal soul, she finds a terrifying void filled with giant eyes. The scholar instantly regrets her life choices as the power overwhelms her. Outside, the night seems calm for only a fleeting second. Then a massive explosion rips through the building, sending debris flying everywhere. Chaos erupts as a massive explosion rocks the building. Fire and smoke choke the air as everything begins to crumble. Our girl desperately holds up the heavy debris to save the poor cats. The professor gasps for air, insisting that she's perfectly fine. But her arm is mangled and bleeding, leaving her completely numb. Professor, our girl screams, her eyes welling with tears. Little Oscar wails for his brother, terrified of being crushed under the beams. Our girl strains against the weight, calling out for Kaka and Oscar. She begs the Soul Master to lift the rubble just a bit higher. Suddenly, the support snaps and a massive rock comes crashing down. Oscar screams in horror as his brother is nearly buried under the weight. The professor coughs up black blood as she shields them with her body. She collapses over the little ones, her strength finally giving out. "Granny, you're bleeding out," the kitten cries in total despair. She whispers that this disaster is her own karmic retribution. Out of the smoke, a mysterious figure in black armor emerges. Hideaki smirks, claiming the explosion finally set her free. Our girl begs her for help, hoping she'll save the trapped victims. But Hideaki looks down with cold, indifferent eyes. She summons her soul pet, the swallow god, preparing to leave. "Farewell," she says, showing zero remorse for the carnage. She vanishes in a flash of light, leaving the survivors behind. Finally, our heroine arrives on the scene, looking calm and collected. She sighs with relief after finally tracking everyone down. With a wave of her hand, she summons the water spirit, Scorpy. The massive spirit douses the flames and carries the survivors to safety. The cat boss promises to pay for all the structural damages. He's just grateful that his younger brothers made it out alive. He tells our heroine to go check on her friend, the professor. "How many times must I tell you? She's not my friend," she grumbles. Later, the professor lies unconscious in a sterile hospital bed. Our heroine stands by her side, asking for a status update. She tells the black-haired girl to just let the past go. "You must have had your reasons for what you did," she admits. The girl explains that the professor used a forbidden soul peak spell. It triggered a violent reaction when it stimulated our heroine's soul pets. Our girl wonders if this happened because of her secret hacks. She sweats, wondering if the professor saw more than she should have. The black-haired girl admits she only wanted to cure her sister's poison. "After the professor got hurt, I finally understood," she says solemnly. She reaches out and pulls back the hospital sheets. The professor's arm is infested with terrifying purple crystals. It's agate disease, an incurable condition caused by abnormal soul power. Our heroine realizes they were hunting for her essence to cure it. The girl looks up, confirming that our girl was their only hope. But our heroine lies, claiming she knows nothing about legendary creatures. "You should probably look for other clues instead," she suggests coldly. The girl bows her head, her hope for a cure completely shattered. Our heroine turns to leave, asking the girl to watch the professor. She walks away into the hallway, leaving the mystery behind her. Our girl thinks the sorrowful Saintess is actually a gentle soul who just needs understanding. She decides to discuss a new research approach with the professor as soon as she wakes. But as she leans over, a strange vision begins to cloud her mind. A blinding light reveals a mysterious dark silhouette reaching out from the void. Rui snaps awake, realizing the nightmare in front of her is all too real. The professor is being consumed by the agate disease, with crystals growing from her face. "Professor," our girl screams, her heart sinking as she sees the infection spreading. She recognizes the terrifying symptoms of the disease that's slowly turning her mentor to stone. Panicked, she screams for a doctor, hoping someone can stop this nightmare. "Stop shouting, Rui," the professor whispers, her voice weak and fading fast. She pulls out a golden vial and tells Rui to use it to save her sister. Her crystal-covered hand trembles as she offers the most precious medicine in existence. Rui is stunned, demanding to know how she even obtained the purest essence. The professor explains that a black silhouette passed it to her in a strange dream. Our girl freezes, realizing she saw the exact same entity in her own vision. She begs the professor to use the essence to save herself instead, but the old woman just smiles, claiming she has already lived a full life. She insists that Rui's sister is the one who truly needs this miracle cure. Rui looks at the vial, her mind flashing back to her sister's bright, happy smile. She remembers the days they spent baking cakes and laughing together in peace. Tears stream down her face as she holds the vial close to her heart. Finally, she makes a choice and pops the cork on the legendary essence. She pours the golden liquid directly onto the professor's face in a desperate gamble. "Rui, what are you doing?" the professor cries out in absolute shock. "You're not satisfied at all," Rui screams, refusing to let her mentor give up. She demands the professor survive to finish her work on legendary creatures. Our poor heroine can't stand the thought of losing the world's greatest scholar. The golden glow begins to eat away at the purple crystals on the professor's skin. It's working, and the disease is being forced back by the purest essence. The crystals shatter into pieces, leaving the professor's face clear and healed. A massive wave of energy erupts, signaling the end of the deadly infection. The professor looks at the empty bottle, her heart heavy with guilt. She laments that such a precious item was wasted on a dying old woman. "How is this a waste?" Rui demands, her voice cracking with emotion. She declares that saving the world's most legendary biologist is never a mistake. The professor sighs, asking what Rui plans to do about her sick sister. She points out that they just used the only cure they might ever find. Rui stands tall, confident they can find another way as long as they're together. The professor vows to save the sister's life, even if it costs her everything. Meanwhile, a blue-haired girl and her spirit companion search for a way forward. Our girl Jiang Yunji is the joyful Saintess, an introvert who secretly loves to travel. She finally reached the Storm Realm to witness a legendary wonder. The sky begins to swirl in preparation for the Sunstinger's birthday. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the entire field. Jiang spins around, wondering what on earth is happening. Thousands of green-haired girls are literally raining falling from the sky. What the hell, she screams as the human avalanche hits. She ends up buried under a mountain of identical girls. This massive pile of bodies is actually a collection of clones. It turns out the wrathful Saintess made a ball of 2,000 clones to roll down a mountain. She tells her clones to hibernate while one retrieves her soul pet. She tells Jiang to stay quiet and just focus on being cute. Jiang wonders if she should go find the mysterious Yoyu next. Elsewhere, the sorrowful Saintess is running for her life through the dark streets. She's panicking because her top secret disguise was somehow exposed. The pursuers are literally holding up a drawing of her exact outfit. I guess I really need to change my style, she grumbles. The guards are relentless and she's starting to get seriously annoyed. She summons her little fox pet to unleash the abysmal seas. She ducks behind a crate to try and lose her tail. Hurry up and give me new clothes, she barks at the fox. The fox looks skeptical but prepares to use its magic. Suddenly, she's screaming about a tail being stuffed into a very weird place. Jiang and the wrathful Saintess stumble upon the ridiculous scene. Is this what you're into? The green-haired girl asks with a smirk. Luo Cuxin explains she's on a mission to escort a prisoner. Our girl covers her eyes in pure second-hand embarrassment. Luo Cuxin leans in close, asking if she's just lonely. I'll make your dreams come true, she offers while Jiang tells her to go to hell. They finally swap the furry gear for some normal streetwear. The wrathful Saintess decides to join the party to test her new pet. Jiang asks the new girl who she actually is. Luo Cuxin realizes she's found another Saintess to help her out. Since they're all from the sea realm, the three Saintesses head off together. Delicious dishes are served as the girls enjoy a rare moment of peace. Green Hair is busy feeding our blue-haired heroine while they gossip over lunch. But the mood shifts when their tiny prisoner Hideaki starts begging for food. Pork ribs, huh? Our girl asks, looking surprisingly tempted by the request. A plate of glistening ribs is brought out, looking way too good for a prisoner. The little captive uses her mechanical arms to snag a piece with lightning speed. You're a living angel, she cries, hugging the rib like it's her new best friend. Beanie Girl isn't impressed and reminds everyone that their guest is technically an enemy. Then she realizes she hasn't actually fed the poor thing in 3 whole days. She finally cringes and tells the chibai to eat up before they head out. Hideaki happily accepts, proving that even a prisoner can be bought with good barbecue. Beanie Girl sighs, thinking that being that small might actually have some major perks. Green Hair asks about the route, and our heroine suggests crossing the Silver Plains. Legend says the plains are a stunning wonder covered in endless, shimmering silver grass. Green Hair is totally sold and wants to take the scenic route immediately. But Hideaki suddenly screams in terror, begging them to stay far away. She warns them that the plains belong to a monster called the Paramount Demon Seed. Beanie Girl is confused and asks what kind of scary plant she's talking about. Apparently, it's a ferocious, holy-tier soul beast that no one has ever managed to tame. Hideaki insists that the beautiful scenery is just a trap for clueless tourists. Green Hair rolls her eyes, convinced the prisoner is just bluffing to stall for time. She figures that if the prisoner hates the path, it's probably the best way to go. Beanie Girl agrees, deciding that the cunning little prisoner simply can't be trusted. Hideaki cries that she's telling the truth, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. Shut up or I'll shock you, Beanie Girl threatens, tired of the constant chatter. The poor prisoner sulks in the corner, realizing her warnings are being completely ignored. Our heroine decides to tag along anyway, curious to see the silver grass for herself. Onwards to the Silver Plains, Green Hair cheers, completely oblivious to the lurking danger. Hideaki curls into a ball, certain that they are all absolutely doomed. They arrive at the plains, which look exactly like a boring, snowy mountain range. Green Hair mocks the prisoner, laughing about how there isn't a monster in sight. Suddenly, she spots a weird-looking rabbit hanging out in the distance. Beanie Girl is underwhelmed, wondering why they were supposed to be afraid of a bunny. Our girl thinks it's the cutest thing ever and way better than local wildlife. But Beanie Girl has a bad feeling, failing to see the charm in the creature. The rabbit turns around, revealing glowing red eyes and a terrifyingly buff physique. It looked right at us, they scream as the realization finally hits. In a blink, the creature vanishes, leaving a massive crater in the ground. Beanie Girl's eyes go wide as she realizes the monster has already moved. Smoke clears as the girls realize their target has vanished into thin air. Suddenly, a terrifying white beast lunges from the shadows with murderous intent. Luo Cuxin, a voice screams as the creature closes the distance in a blur. Scorpy steps in just in time to tank a massive blow from the monster. Our girl watches in horror as her summon struggles against the beast's raw power. The rabbit monster doesn't let up, throwing a punch that ripples through the air. Scorpy counters with a devastating jade crush, causing a massive explosion of soul energy. A thick cloud of dust settles over the battlefield as the girls hold their breath. Did we actually defeat it? Luo Cuxin asks, her voice trembling with exhaustion. But the warning comes too late, don't get careless, Gong Lion Yu. Emerging from the smoke completely unscathed, the Paramount Demon Seed reveals its true, terrifying form. This isn't just any monster, it's the strongest holy-tier soul beast in history. Our girl can't believe her eyes as she stares at the supposedly holy creature. It doesn't even possess holy soul power because its aura alone is enough to kill. The monster slams its fist into Scorpy's shield, testing the summon's ultimate defense. Cracks spiderweb across the jade surface as the beast's strength proves too much. With one final bone-shattering strike, the scorpion's shield completely shatters into pieces. The Demon Seed is a relentless killing machine that won't stop until they're dead. dead. Realizing her summon is at its limit, she quickly commands Scorpy to return. The blue beast vanishes into a pillar of light, leaving them completely defenseless. The rabbit monster lands gracefully, its red eyes locked onto its next prey. Luo Kuxin stands frozen in fear as death stares her right in the face. But Yoyu isn't ready to give up and prepares to make a stand. Luo Kuxin, she shouts, snapping her friend back into the life-or-death reality. She begs her friend to stall the beast for 10 minutes so she can finish it. Our girl hardens her gaze, knowing exactly what she has to do next. Little fox, she calls out, summoning her most loyal and mysterious companion. The tiny creature erupts into a sun-like blaze, revealing the blood-bathed fox lord of sun. Our girl screams for the little fox to unleash its ultimate move. The tiny creature transforms into a massive, flaming beast of pure destruction. Meanwhile, Yoju waits patiently for her main body to send the final coordinates. The flaming fox lets out a deafening roar at the tiny rabbit girl. Instead of running, the rabbit dives headfirst into the beast's massive maw. Our heroine watches in shock, wondering what kind of crazy stance the rabbit is taking. Get out of the way, she screams, fearing the worst for her small ally. The rabbit becomes a literal whirlwind, tearing through the air with terrifying speed. Even the giant fox is sweating, realizing it might have underestimated its opponent. The girls continue to scream warnings as the battlefield turns into pure chaos. Our girl realizes the enemy might be able to weaponize its entire body. A massive blue scorpion construct rises up to crush the tiny rabbit warrior. The impact is absolutely brutal as the two powers collide in midair. A pillar of blue energy explodes, shaking the very foundation of the world. But the rabbit isn't done yet and unleashes the deadly five-leaf clover strike. Our girl cheers because five-leaf clover managed to finally injure the beast. This degree of damage will only provoke it, someone warns as the rabbit's eyes glow red. The massive mechanical monster looms over her, its mouth charging a deadly beam of energy. Did it throw its leg at us? She gasps as a projectile flies through the air. Our poor heroine is slammed into the dirt, coughing up black ichor from the impact. She can't believe Scorpy was taken down in a single, brutal strike. A glowing green seal forms in the sky as a mysterious voice praises Yoyu. A pink-haired girl steps forward, telling our girl to leave the rest to her. Coordinates are locked as the rabbit monster looks up at the impending doom. A massive pink energy sword descends from the heavens, obliterating the entire battlefield. One sword to rule the world, she declares, summoning the 7-foot sword maiden Flower. But the power drain is too much, and our savior collapses right on the spot. Our girl stares at the smoking crater, praying that the beast is finally dead. She's already getting annoyed by people complaining about her using hacks to win. A blood-curdling screech suddenly rips through the air, freezing our girls in place. They turn around to find the monster standing tall despite the massive explosion. It's entered a reproductive combat mode, with mini bunnies splitting off its muscular frame. The tiny terrors launch themselves forward, screeching as they swarm the area. Stop sandbegging or we're gonna die, our girl screams, losing her absolute mind. Gong Lianyu tries to fight back by summoning her trusty scorpion, Scorpy. But the battlefield is suddenly swarmed by high-tier bunny clones. Out of options, our girl calls forth a massive water spirit. The spirit just stares at her with a look of pure judgment. Suddenly, it opens its mouth wide enough to swallow a house. Before she can scream, the spirit gulps her down in one bite. She realizes she's been trapped inside a protective watery orb. Moments later, she wakes up in a mysterious hidden crystal room. A strange spirit girl explains that this realm is draining her power. If she stays, her soul will be completely exhausted to death. To save her, the spirit initiates a deadly soul hell trial. Can you just start this whenever you want? She complains. A sharp claw points directly at her face to silence her. The system begins generating the world for her newest trial. As the matchmaking starts, the spirit holds her close. Lianyu is suddenly tossed back toward her friend Luo Kuxin. She screams for Kuxin to hold the line for 17 seconds. 17 seconds, what are you even doing? Kuxin yells back. Our girl is determined to evolve her power to the abyssal level. She vanishes into a pillar of light, leaving her friend stunned. Inside the trial, her tiny form is swarmed by bloodthirsty monsters. She slams a button to trigger a massive, desperate explosion. Lianyu commands her allies to stall the enemies at any cost. A terrifying monster grins as the real nightmare begins. Our girl finds herself wandering through a dark, endless hallway. She tells a stranger she's here to reach the abyssal level. The green-haired girl screams for Hideaki to hold out for 10 more seconds. Our girl Hideaki scoffs, claiming her holy tier weapon makes this a total piece of cake. But the giant creature looming over her has a much more sinister plan in mind. It launches a massive strike that sends shockwaves rippling through the entire battlefield. Crap, the main body is moving. Her friend yells as Hideaki desperately summons a shield. The impact is brutal, leaving our poor heroine face down in the dirt and barely conscious. She struggles to breathe, realizing her soul power is almost completely drained from the fight. Meanwhile, little Gong Lianyu is busy taking down her 12th enemy of the day. Suddenly, a massive, grotesque pigment mutation blocks her path with a terrifying snarl. Gong Lianyu freezes, wondering if this monster is some kind of freakish new mutation. Divine flower penetration, she screams, firing a beam of pure energy at the beast. The blast connects with a blinding flash, but the monster doesn't even flinch. To her horror, the pigman casually flings her ultimate attack away with its bare hand. Realizing her normal skills are useless, she prepares to unleash a dangerous forbidden art. She focuses every last drop of her energy into a devastating lotus strike. The pigman's flesh is torn apart as blood sprays across the dark corridor. The massive beast collapses into a heap of gore, seemingly defeated at last. Our girl gasps for air, praying that her desperate gamble was enough to kill it. But a single red eye snaps open, proving the nightmare is far from over. The mutated freak lunges forward for one final, lethal strike against the exhausted girl. Suddenly, the Saintess appears like a guardian angel and tells her to rest. With a casual wave of her hand, she slices the monster clean in half. Gong Lianyu watches in awe, unable to believe such power actually exists. Lady Saintess, you've actually reached the abyssal level, she cries out in pure shock. The Saintess plays it cool, though she secretly knows the monster was almost dead anyway. Our girl starts fangirling immediately, declaring that the Saintess is her new queen. The Saintess awkwardly tries to calm her down, thinking the girl is being way too dramatic. Just then, a system message announces the trial is over and they've finally survived. I told you guys not to come here, Luo Cuxin whispers while bleeding out. She wonders why things ended this way as a giant paw descends. The beast crushes her into the dirt while she desperately gasps for air. A massive shockwave ripples through the field from the heavy impact. But the bunny pauses when a mysterious purple barrier suddenly appears. Our blue-haired girl stands over her fallen friend with deep pity. Suddenly, she feels a terrifying shift in the surrounding magical air. Gong Lianyu has evolved to abyssal level, she realizes in total shock. She orders the wounded girl to retreat and rest inside her relic. Yoyu watches from afar as the girl calls for immediate healing. Now it is time for the abyssal level powerhouse to finally shine. Gong Lianyu glows with an eerie light ready for total war. She stands tall against the monster while our heroine watches on. The legendary Yukiana joins the fray to lend her icy strength. She begins her ritual, preparing a powerful soul-stitching technique. The giant rabbit isn't going down easy and fires deadly beams. Red lasers slice through the air, threatening to cut everything apart. The massive beast prepares for another devastating and final stomp. It stares down its tiny opponents with eyes full of malice. A creepy grin spreads across its face as its eyes glow red. It lets out a deafening roar that shakes the very ground. Yogyu realizes the rabbit clones are starting to move as one. Watch out, she screams as the fluffy swarm begins to move. Our team of spirits stands their ground against the incoming tide. Frozen binds, Yukiana shouts, unleashing a massive wave of ice. Yoyu is confused why the rabbit is suddenly doing deep squats. It is actually charging up a high-speed hop enhancement for speed. Yukiana watches in shock as the beast prepares to launch forward. The bunny explodes forward like a rocket at blindingly high speed. They brace themselves as the monster closes the distance in seconds. Death Calamity, Gong Lianyu screams, meeting the attack head-on. The beast is hit with a Death Calamity as the battle reaches its peak. A massive crash echoes as the pink energy slams into the ground. The muscular rabbit beast takes a direct hit with a violent bam. Pow, another strike lands, leaving the monster bloodied and dazed. A purple explosion erupts, completely overwhelming the paramount demon seed. The beast collapses, its body covered in deep, bleeding gashes. It stares back with glowing red eyes, refusing to stay down. Suddenly, the creature's muscles swell as it prepares a final stand. It makes a threatening motion, its red eyes burning with pure hatred. Is it trying to say it's about to get serious? Our girl wonders. The white-haired dude stands ready, their hands glowing with divine power. Stitch Soul Death Calamity, they scream, unleashing their combined ultimate moves. Energy swirls around the beast as it tries to activate a skill. Combat skill, the monster roars, attempting to counter the devastating attack. A streak of purple light tears across the landscape like a comet. The shockwave is so powerful that it's visible from miles away. A bright flash illuminates the dark sky, signaling the battle's end. What's that star over there? A distant witness asks in confusion. A massive pillar of purple energy erupts with a deafening boom. Everyone watches in shock as the sky turns a haunting shade. Group B reporting from the source of the explosion, a scout shouts. They demand to know what happened to the Silver Plains turf. Floating debris fills the air where the massive beast once stood. Our poor heroine lies motionless, her body broken by the intense power. Alive, seal, the white-haired girls whisper while approaching the crater. The maiden looks on with a cold, expressionless gaze at the aftermath. Ice coffin, she commands, summoning a massive frozen pillar of ice. The beast is sealed away inside the coffin to end the nightmare. Ancient secrets about this Yukiana seal have been lost to time. Our blue-haired girl is left battered and unconscious from the blast. How terrifying, a survivor mutters, safe inside her protective bubble. A cold-eyed commander learns the legendary paramount demon seed is finally dying. She grins, believing that fate has finally decided to favor her ambition. Alliance military move out, she screams, ordering a full-scale capture mission. High above the crater, the air crackles with the coming storm. Down below, our poor skeleton girl is huffing from the intense battle. Our girl is absolutely floored that the skeleton is even still alive. The Yukiana and the beast communicate in a language of pure gibberish. Our girl tries to eavesdrop, but the soul beast language hurts her. The Yukiana stands guard as the rabbit-like demon seed prepares to run. It leaps into the air, hoping to vanish into the the thick clouds. But the military isn't letting their prize slip away that easily today. A massive soul beast unleashes a devastating thunder wheel at the target. Our girl watches in horror as the Storm Alliance military joins in. They rain down a barrage of elemental attacks upon the crater floor. The entire area is consumed by a blinding explosion of magical power. The commander is informed that 2 human survivors are still lurking below. Her scouts confirm the identities of our girl and the sorrowful Saintess. The commander realizes the Saintess was likely acting as our girl's escort. She warns her troops to stay back, fearing the Yukiana's overwhelming power. The commander looks down at our girl, who is trapped in a relic. She can't help but burst into a fit of maniacal, mocking laughter. "Senior, you sure look cute stuck in that little ball," she sneers. The soldiers whisper that these two actually studied under the same master. Our girl realizes her former junior has climbed all the way to commander. But instead of helping, the junior orders her men to prepare punishment. "Junior, how could you do this to me?" our girl screams out. The commander snaps, yelling that our girl is a disgrace for being captured. She admits she always wanted the swallow god power for her own. A wicked smile spreads as she plans to claim both holy tier beasts. A crazed look of ambition takes over as she vows to be strongest. Suddenly, her soldiers scream in terror as they look at their commander. The Yukiana makes her move, and the commander is taken down instantly. Despite the horror, the military rallies their 300 soul masters. Massive enemies are closing in from the darkened sky. Our girl stands her ground alongside her mysterious ally. Suddenly, she finds herself standing alone in a strange, raining void. "Where is this?" she mutters, looking at her tattered clothes. A massive crack splits the air right in front of her. She wonders if she's stumbled into a secret realm. The crystal structure in front of her begins to shatter violently. Before she can react, the entire thing explodes into shards. A wave of purple energy sends her flying through the air. She hits the ground with a massive, bone-chilling thud. What just happened?" our girl groans, barely conscious. She looks around and sees a literal graveyard of bodies. These are all elite soldiers from the Storm Realm Alliance. A tiny creature explains that over 300 men were slaughtered. It asks if she truly remembers nothing from inside the crystal. "Let's just get out of here," she says, needing answers. The story travels across the lands as information is shared. After days of walking, they finally reach Grey Shadow Mountain. Our girl is rocking a new look as they enter the territory. She tries to ditch her companion, telling it to find a comrade. "Wait, don't abandon me here," the little guy screams in terror. Our girl knows the sex around here are greedy and dangerous. The creature begs for protection, promising a massive ransom. "All right, but only for the money," she sighs, walking up. A grumpy guard immediately blocks her path at the gate. Our girl explains she has business at the main sect, but the guard isn't letting any random person inside. "Sigh, how annoying," our girl mutters under her breath. She decides to play dirty and pulls out a red envelope. "Can't you make an exception for a friend?" she asks. The guard stares at the bribe, looking completely stunned. She greedily snatches the envelope and checks the contents. Our girl thinks she's bought her way in for sure, but the guard takes the cash and still says no. "What are you pulling? You just took my money," she screams. The guard points toward a massive recruitment trial nearby. Our girl protests that she isn't here to join them. The guard doesn't care, only those who pass the test enter. "Seriously, fine," she yells, stomping toward the crowd. A woman named Grey Fox introduces herself as the Invigilator. The candidates are told to place their hands on a crystal. Our girl remembers doing a test like this before. Back then, she struggled just to avoid being humiliated. But now, she decides it's time to go a little crazy. She steps up and places her hand on the stone. A massive glowing phantom erupts from the crystal behind her. Grey Fox nearly loses her mind seeing the record score. "What kind of monster are you?" the teacher screams in disbelief. Our girl just stares back, totally unimpressed by the drama. "Either way, I can enter the mountain now, right?" she asks. Grey Fox grabs her hands, begging her to join. Our poor heroine is just confused by this sudden behavior. Our girl decides to play along just to get into the mountain. She lies about being a simple village girl who only knows how to play with mud. The tutor is impressed by her modesty, but our heroine is totally underwhelmed by the stingy crystals. She's told she must survive a 1-week trial phase to officially join the sect. Our girl isn't here for the training, she just wants to loot their soul crystals. The tutor watches her, convinced our poor heroine is a lonely child who mumbles to herself. "How pitiful, I'll shower you with love and care," the teacher vows dramatically. Our girl ignores the weird vibes and asks for directions to the main sect. She takes one look at the crazy steps ahead and immediately regrets her life choices. Her little captive points out it's only 20 kilometers, which should be a breeze. "You'd be there in half an hour if you knew wind resistance arts," the tiny voice mocks. Our girl snaps back, threatening to mail the girl's ransom back home if she doesn't pipe down. The little prisoner complains about the irregular meals and her disappearing stamina. Finally, our girl gives in and decides to stay at the mountain for a few days. She wonders why everyone keeps babbling nonstop about some Yukiana. Time to check out her own soul pet realm to see what's really going on. She enters the realm and finds herself standing on a sunny, tropical beach. There's a literal snowman and a bunch of weird creatures just chilling in the sand. Our heroine is completely stunned by the bizarre sight. She rubs her eyes, convinced she must be hallucinating from the heat. A pale, ghostly girl stares back at her with a completely blank expression. "Not welcome?" the spirit asks, looking like her feelings might actually be hurt. Meanwhile, on on the other end of the storm realm, things are getting way too intense. A green-haired girl falls through the air, screaming at the top of her lungs. A massive, armored guardian of the realm looms over the entire landscape. She's running for her life, wondering why this giant is even chasing her. Back with our girl, the Paramount Demon Seed finally makes its grumpy appearance. This little seed looks like it woke up on the wrong side of the garden. We shift back to the Gray Valley, a prime spot for completing recruitment tasks. Our girl decides to follow the local customs and start foraging for herbs. Her little captive laughs, telling her these beginner-level herbs aren't even worth the effort. Who cares if they're useless as long as they sell for money, our girl declares. She realizes her little fox spirit is still throwing a massive, jealous tantrum. Stop throwing tantrums and get to work, she commands the pouting creature. Suddenly, some local bullies show up to ruin her peaceful afternoon. Did no one teach you how to greet your seniors? The leader sneers with a smirk. She looks down at our girl with pure, unadulterated arrogance. Our girl isn't in the mood to take any attitude from these muscleheads. You want to compete with me? Are you even worthy? Our girl scoffs. Our girl isn't playing around and demands a bet of 50 soul crystals. The opponent is absolutely floored by the high stakes of this newbie. Her lackeys whisper nervously, wondering if they even have that kind of loot. One subordinate warns her boss that our heroine is definitely just bluffing. The boss takes the bait, unaware our girl is already celebrating her victory. Fast forward, and the bullies are literally planted headfirst into the dirt. Our girl smirks, demanding they cough up those 50 crystals right now. Nursing a massive bruise, the opponent realizes she's been totally outclassed. She immediately switches sides, begging our girl to take her under her wing. The former bully even offers the best dorm room with the perfect airflow. Our girl is more interested in the local delicacies of the Wind Valley. The girls promise to prepare a specialty wild chicken mushroom soup for her. Later, our heroine stares down the meal, wondering if it's actually edible. It looks delicious, but she isn't taking any chances with these former enemies. She forces her little soul pet to take the first bite as a precaution. I'm just having you test it for poison, she admits with zero shame. The little guy is relieved it's not a death sentence and starts eating. He absolutely loves the soup, claiming it tastes just like home. Seeing her pet is still alive, our girl decides it's finally safe. She takes a massive gulp, enjoying the rich and warm flavor. It's surprisingly good, and our girl finally starts to relax a little. Suddenly, a ghostly Yukiana appears right behind her without a sound. Our girl nearly jumps out of her skin seeing the spirit manifested there. But the Yukiana is only interested in stealing a sip of that soup. Our girl nervously asks for a review of the local specialty. The spirit uses her power to turn the hot soup into a popsicle. She explains this is her bloodline ability while munching on the frozen treat. Then she reveals a massive ice soul coffin that grants random power-ups. Our girl realizes this is a golden chance to strengthen her soul pets. The spirit gives a simple nod of approval while finishing her snack. Our heroine is overjoyed that the spirit is actually being helpful for once. An ice elf emerges from the coffin looking like it just left a sauna. Yukiana confirms the pet just received a massive combat skill upgrade. Our girl smirks, already planning which lucky pet gets the next level up. Our girl decides to skip the water spirit since it was just lounging around earlier. Plus, little fox is already rocking a godly skill called God's Will. She decides it is finally time to give Scorpy a much-needed power boost. Scorpy, come out, she shouts, summoning her massive blue companion to the room. The giant insect looms over a small, glowing white ice coffin. Poor Scorpy tries his absolute best to squeeze his huge body into the box. It is a total tight squeeze as he shoves his head into the opening. He is sweating bullets while desperately trying to force his way inside. Scorpy lets out a frustrated growl, realizing he is just way too big. Yukiana, can you make the ice coffin a little bigger? Our girl asks. But the spirit warns that she lacks the soul power to expand it. Our heroine realizes her plan for a quick level up is totally stalled. She apologizes to Scorpy, telling him the upgrade isn't happening today. The big guy lets out a dejected growl, looking absolutely heartbroken. She turns to the fox, announcing that the lucky chance goes to her instead. Little fox tilts her head with a confused yep as she is lifted. Suddenly, a dark and ominous portal opens up right in front of them. The senior counts out 42 valuable herbs, including the rare blazing soul grass. But our heroine isn't satisfied with just the leftovers. She's annoyed that they can only use a tiny fraction of what they gathered. Holding a strand of moonlight grass, she wonders if she can absorb its soul power. Meanwhile, Lady Green Shadow receives documents and a photo of the sorrowful Saintess. She's planning a warm welcome involving a potion strong enough to knock someone out for a decade. You're mine, she sneers, clutching her secret bottle with a villainous grin. Back at the house, our girl prepares to absorb the massive pile of iron soul power. She's shaking with excitement as she begins the intense cultivation process. Suddenly, the night sky begins to tremble under the moon's glow. Our heroine finds herself in the soul pet realm with her loyal team. A strange little blob creature pops out of nowhere. The pets can only stare in confusion at their weird new visitor. The blob suddenly equips a tiny knight's helmet. It looks exactly like a miniature, armored version of the moon. Even the soul pets are sweating from the sheer absurdity of it all. Our girl finally wakes up, gasping after absorbing every last drop of energy. She's dying to see what kind of changes this power-up brought. Wait, why is the moon wearing armor? She asks, looking at the sky. A message appears confirming her cold moon leveled up into the silver onyx moon. It's a defensive type ancient soul art, and she's ready to test its limits. She activates the shield and tells Scorpy to give her his best shot. Scorpy doesn't hold back, winding up a massive, glowing punch. The impact is huge, sending her skidding backward. But our girl stands up completely unfazed, realizing the attack didn't hurt at all. She even lets Yukiana try to break through her new defense. The Monarch of Snow's hair lashes out with incredible force. The shield holds firm, leaving our heroine feeling absolutely invincible. Returning to reality, the senior demands to know how she absorbed Iron-type power. Our girl tries to deflect, asking what they're having for lunch. But the senior's face turns dark as she approaches with a document. "Drop the act, Shui Kingyu," she shouts, shoving a photo in her face. Our poor heroine tries to play the innocent newbie card. The senior sneers, addressing her by her true name, Gong Lianyu. Things escalate instantly as the senior is slammed into the floor. "Are you guys going to attack as well?" Our girl growls, finally dropping the act. The water spirit isn't playing around with its amnesia mini-skill. It uses the pain of suffocation to literally drown out memories. Our girl watches as the poor Saintess wakes up completely broken. "Where am I?" she mumbles, her brain turned to absolute mush. The girls quickly spin a lie about her overworking herself. The brainwashing is so effective, she actually thanks them for the help. She wanders off to do their bidding like a mindless puppet. Even her own subordinates don't realize their leader has been lobotomized. She leaves with a trail of drool, totally lost in the sauce. Transitioning over to the Yin Candle Palace, things are getting weird. A prisoner suddenly vanishes into thin air right before the guards. It turns out Gong Lianyu has been pulled into a deadly trial. She finds herself trapped in a hellish dimension filled with monsters. Her companion, Star Color, immediately goes into beast mode. She uses her physical arts to send a massive pig man flying. Then she activates her silver onyx moon for a massive power boost. The monsters are terrified of this tiny powerhouse wrecking their ranks. They finally break through the wave, but the soul power is thin. The real boss finally shows up, and he looks absolutely shredded. Lord Tiger King is a holy tier beast who absorbs the environment. He starts by brutalizing his own subordinates for being so useless. "Are there still 2 fat sheep left?" he growls, eyes glowing. Star Color tells her queen to run while she holds him back. She unleashes a massive red lotus blast to stop the beast. But the Tiger King just laughs and catches the blast barehanded. He grabs her by the throat, demanding she teach him her secrets. Star Color fires a point-blank shot and manages to make a break. Star Color fires a point-blank shot and manages to make a break. Our girls are gasping for air as they finally manage to lose their pursuers. "I'm sorry you had to carry me all this way," the black-haired girl sighs. Our heroine is a natural at sensing soul power, which leads them straight to a hidden oasis. They take a moment to soak in a hot spring that's overflowing with massive energy. Suddenly, a roguelike system screen pops up, offering them 3 game-changing blessings. Our girl recognizes this mechanic instantly, and honestly, she's ready to gamble. While endurance is the smart choice, the allure of a mystery goodie bag is just too enticing. "I really want those soul power pills," our poor heroine admits with a hungry look. She lets her inner gambler take the wheel and eagerly tears into the goodie bag. Her companion is totally ride or die, promising to follow her queen's lead no matter what. To prepare for the next trial, the black-haired girl demonstrates a move called Divine Flower Penetration. Our girl just stares blankly at the bizarre ho-ha-he shouting session. But then a notification pops up, her aptitude has skyrocketed and she's starting to get it. She gives it a shot and a surprising blast of airflow erupts from her palm. "Teach me everything you know," she begs, determined not to waste this golden blessing. What follows is a high-speed training montage filled with kicks, strikes, and rapid-fire punches. In less than an hour, our girl is officially declared a physical arts master. She's throwing haymakers and shadowless kicks like she's been training for years. Their victory lap is interrupted by a tiny piglet that looks way too suspicious. The little traitor screams for the Tiger King, calling our girls fat sheep for the slaughter. The ground shatters as a massive presence prepares to make a grand entrance. It's the Tiger King himself, and he's looking for a very specific breakfast. "Fear not, things are different now," the black-haired girl shouts, popping a power-boosting pill. She absorbs the soul power from the vapor, glowing with an intense pink aura. She unleashes 200 continuous shots of her ultimate penetration technique. The entire cave erupts in a massive explosion that should have ended the fight. As the dust settles, our girls wait to see if they actually took the beast down. But the Tiger King is still standing, flexing his muscles with a skill called toughness. "He completely blocked my ultimate moves," our girl gasps, her jaw hitting the floor. The Tiger King isn't impressed and decides it's finally time to start cooking. His pig subordinate charges in with a massive cleaver, ready to get to work. "I told you I know martial arts," our girl screams, delivering a brutal kick. The little assistant is sent flying across the room like a literal football. The Tiger King's eyes light up, realizing this fat sheep might actually be a challenge. It's a high-stakes showdown between our girl Gong Lianyu and the massive Tiger King. She activates her silver onyx moon, knowing she needs every bit of defense against his speed. The Tiger King is unimpressed, comparing her weird arts to a black sheep he knows. Our girl decides to get physical, landing a disrespectful double slap right on his snout. He stands there stunned, probably wondering how a human has the audacity to slap a king. Lianyu smirks, claiming her barrier can even withstand attacks from a holy tier master. But the Tiger King isn't playing games anymore and unleashes his iron shredding claw. The beast roars as he charges forward, forcing our poor heroine to take a hit. The beast actually cries out like a kitten as his claws are damaged by her defense. She tries to break through his massive chest, but he laughs at her puny efforts. They trade a flurry of kicks and palms, but neither can land a finishing blow. Suddenly, our girl spots a tiny opening in his guard and goes for it. She uses the most dishonorable move in the book and pokes him right in the eyes. The king screams in agony, roaring about how much of a dishonest bastard she is. She just shrugs it off, telling him he only gets one chance to survive. Fed up with the duel, the Tiger King calls in his pig-faced brothers for backup. Our girl is absolutely humiliated as she gets dogpiled by a bunch of literal pigs. Divine flower penetration, she screams, blasting the filthy animals away with a burst of energy. She demands he release the captives, but the Tiger King has other plans for his lunch. He grabs another poor soul, and our girl realizes it's the sister who helped her earlier. A system message confirms the beast has absorbed a player's blessing, significantly increasing his power. His aura shifts into something terrifying, and Lion Yu knows she's in deep trouble. He slams her into the ground with overwhelming force, knocking the wind out of her. Lion Yu coughs up blood as her precious silver onyx moon begins to crack. She desperately tries to stabilize her power before the barrier shatters completely. But the Tiger King is relentless, delivering a brutal strike directly to her head. Our poor heroine collapses, wondering if her soul-held trial ends in this bloody mess. The beast orders his minions to bring back the black-haired girl instead of healing her. Smash her brain, he commands, looking down at his supposedly defeated prey. But Lion Yu isn't done yet and forces herself back onto her feet with a glare. The Tiger King is genuinely shocked to see her still standing after that beating. Suddenly, an ally tosses her a 10 times soul power pill from the shadows. Lion Yu swallows the medicine, feeling a massive surge of energy coursing through her veins. She refines the power into a brand new attribute she calls Moon-type Soul Power. With a cold glare, she unleashes 100 times Moon Flower penetration to end it all. The Tiger King is absolute toast after that brutal insta kill. The girls can't believe they actually survived the ordeal. I hope we meet again in the real world, her companion shouts. Our girl officially becomes the Tiger King Slayer and gains a permanent power buff. The loot summary reveals a heavy soul pill and a piece of goatskin parchment. She also snags a mysterious bracer and a sketchy-looking breeding manual. Our girl isn't impressed and calls the entire haul absolute garbage. She returns to the real world where only 5 seconds have passed. Time works differently there, what do you know? She snaps at the spirit. She dumps her trash loot on the water spirit for safekeeping. Yukiana realizes the book contains forbidden secrets about crossbreeding soul beasts. Our girl starts imagining some very questionable beast pairings for a power boost. But when Yukiana looks at the parchment, she turns pale with shock. What's wrong? What does it say? Our heroine asks nervously. Without answering, the spirit just books it out of the room. The little spirit explains that the bracer is actually a powerful soul relic. Our girl ignores the gear and goes hunting for a snack instead. She uses her new strength to turn an apple into literal mush. Please stop wasting food, the spirit scolds, clearly not impressed. Our girl summons Hideaki because it's time for some physical training. Let's spar, she demands with total confidence. Hideaki tries to pawn her off on someone stronger, but our heroine is determined to test out her flashy new moves. They agree to a match with one strict rule: no soul pets allowed. That's exactly how I wanted it, our girl says with a smirk. They head to the Gray Shadow Mountain dojo for their private session. The place is completely empty so they can fight to their heart's content. Hideaki is secretly plotting her revenge for all the bullying. Our girl is just as ready to unleash her hidden techniques. Begin, the referee shouts to start the showdown. Hideaki goes for a massive leap right off the bat. Our girl thinks she's being way too predictable with that trajectory. Suddenly, Hideaki activates a wind ride soul art to move faster. She slams down with a 1,000-kilo leg drop that lands perfectly. You're cheating, you use soul arts, our girl screams in pain. Hideaki argues that soul energy is basically just physical strength anyway. Fine, you're the one who said it, our girl retorts. She tries to counterattack with her divine flower penetration technique, but the move just fizzles out into a pathetic little cloud. She realizes with horror that her soul power won't work out here. Desperate, she tries to launch a silver onyx moon attack. Are you daydreaming? Hideaki asks while closing the distance. The spectators on the balcony can't believe their eyes as the battle reaches its peak. The opponent mocks our girl's skills, but her full-powered kick doesn't even leave a scratch. She's absolutely terrified, wondering if this insane durability is the result of some secret soul art. Gong Lianyu doesn't give her a second to breathe and launches a counterattack she can't dodge. With one devastating punch, the Swallow God is sent crashing through the wall like a ragdoll. She ends up buried under a mountain of rubble after that single, terrifying display of strength. The girls watching from above are completely stunned by the sheer violence of the move. Our girl just one-shotted a legendary fighter, proving she is in a league of her own. Even Gong Lianyu is secretly shocked by how crazy her new power buff actually is. Later, she settles in for a luxury lunch of truffled lamb lamb and honey-roasted ham. The maids offer to cut her food, but she dismisses them to enjoy her victory alone. She sips her wine with the grace of a true queen while looking totally unbothered. Our girl can't help but roast her opponent, mocking her for being so incredibly weak. After finishing her meal, it's finally time to unlock the secrets of the mysterious bracer. She bites her thumb to offer a drop of blood and initiate a contract. That hurt, she pouts, wishing she had chosen a much more elegant way to do this. She commands the item to activate, expecting a massive surge of ancient power. The bracer glows for a split second as if it's actually going to work. Suddenly, the light dims, leaving our heroine standing there in total, awkward silence. The relic just drops to the floor with a pathetic thud, completely rejecting her blood. Her bean opponent suggests that some relics specifically require the blood of a soul beast. Gong Lianyu ponders the advice, looking for a loophole to bypass the blood requirement. She calls over her adorable water spirit, asking the little one to activate the relic. Since the spirit is made of water, its essence should be the perfect substitute blood. The tiny spirit carefully drips its liquid essence onto the center of the mechanical bracer. A massive pillar of light erupts, proving that the spirit's blood was the magic key. Gong Lianyu shields her eyes, wondering if her little spirit just hit the absolute jackpot. The outer shell shatters into pieces, revealing a glowing crystal core hidden deep inside. This isn't just junk, it's an unparalleled, hyper-offensive holy tier soul crystal from the mountains. Our girl is floored, realizing she's just stumbled upon a treasure of legendary proportions. It looks like the crystals her teacher gave her, but the energy is way more intense. Her opponent explains that feeding this to a soul pet can grant them rare attributes. Higher tier crystals almost guarantee a massive power-up and a brand new set of special traits. Gong Lianyu smiles, deciding to give this insane buff to her loyal soul pet, Scorpy. Grey Fox activates her Storm True Sight to peer into our girl's soul. Our heroine nervously waits to see if her secrets are about to be exposed. The tutor's vision zooms in deep, focusing on a mysterious blue gem. She sees a bizarre vision of our girl relaxing on a beach with a giant crab. Grey Fox instantly breaks into a cold sweat, looking completely petrified. Her teammate asks if she managed to identify the girl's soul pets. Grey Fox looks like she's just seen a literal god and realized she's cooked. Our girl just tilts her head, wondering why everyone is acting so weird. It seems I was mistaken, Grey Fox screams, laughing like a total maniac. She lies through her teeth, claiming our girl only has a few pitiful wind pets. The other enforcers start cackling along, thinking they have nothing to fear. Our girl isn't buying this sudden change in energy for a second. The masked enforcer laughs, calling the whole thing a major misunderstanding. Grey Fox is internally crying, knowing they absolutely cannot afford to provoke this girl. "Can I ask you a question?" our heroine asks, stepping forward. Grey Fox nearly has a heart attack, thinking the final blow is coming. Suddenly, a masked enforcer standing on a giant dragon creature threatens to kill her. Our girl just gives a sinister smile, relieved there are only 8 of them. A massive explosion rocks the entire forest as the battle begins. In the blink of an eye, the legendary enforcers are planted face down in the dirt. Grey Fox is left speechless, watching her entire elite squad get utterly destroyed. "Tie them up," our girl commands, looking totally bored with the fight. The enforcers are so terrified they actually tie themselves up to save her the trouble. The masked girl tries to scold Grey Fox for surrendering so easily. "Look at the giant bumps on your head," Grey Fox snaps. "How are you still acting tough?" She begs our girl to spare their lives, promising to keep their movements a secret. Our girl decides Grey Fox has the right spirit and might be useful. She turns her attention to the rest of the rowdy crew. With a wave of her hand, she summons a powerful water spirit. "Turn them stupid," she orders, and the spirit immediately goes to work. Our girl then demands that Grey Fox lend her that giant eyeball soul pet. Grey Fox hesitates, but our heroine isn't taking no for an answer. "Please accept this soul pet, Lady Gong Lianyu," Grey Fox cries, handing it over. She orders the eyeball to do whatever our girl says so they don't all die. A few days later, the Saintess's palace has been rebranded as a daycare center. The legendary 8 demons are now literally acting like toddlers in the yard. Grey Fox is stuck playing teacher, desperately trying to stop them from biting each other. Servants arrive with documents, wondering why the Saintess has been shut inside recently. A cat girl stops them, claiming the Saintess is in a very important meeting. In reality, our girl is just in the back shed hammering away at some wood. She stops to catch her breath, looking a bit exhausted from her secret project. She starts pacing around anxiously, feeling like something is off. "I can't help but feel like there's a weird gaze on me," she mutters. She realizes the feeling isn't coming from the giant eyeball watching her. It feels more like the perverse gaze of a total creep, she grumbles.